Chapter 591. Yuan Yin, Yuan Hua, and Yuan Meng sat cross-legged in the air, activating their respective soul fires. With a flick of their tongues, a mirror appeared in front of them. This was a connection to the world of immortals, a mirror used to monitor the universe. Their special magic allowed them to connect to the immortal world's heavenly will, allowing them to observe the myriad worlds through a certain angle of view. From what Zhongli could see, this was essentially a large-scale search system. They used their soul fires to connect to the network formed by the heavenly will of the immortal world, allowing them to observe the entire universe. It was the same as humans using the internet to search for all sorts of knowledge. The immortal world's heavenly will was essentially a giant photonic computer. Its search engine was trillions of times more powerful than humanity's photonic computer, infinity, or even the relic of a grand emperor. That was why the three immortals were working together to find the location of the demon's altar. After all, it was based on the perspective of the immortal world's heavenly will. However, the mirror wasn't very clear, and there was no way to see what was happening inside. "Hurry up and activate your soul fires," Yuan Yin said. "We're using the perspective of the immortal world's heavenly will, so we need the power of our soul fires. You're not from the world of immortals, so you can't activate the heavenly will search. However, you can use our auras to activate it." "It doesn't matter." Zhongli immediately activated his soul flame and threw it into the formation of the three of them. Rumble. Zhongli's soul fire was several times stronger than the three immortals combined. With a slight movement, the mirror became very clear, displaying all sorts of information and images. Sure enough, as the search continued, the image froze, and a cosmic storm appeared. In the depths of the cosmic storm, there was an altar with many devils inside, their powerful bodies swaying. The altar of the demon plane is really in the depths of the cosmic storm. Looks like my guess was right. However, I do have the exact coordinates. Still, my soul flame is not strong enough. I am still unable to determine the specific cultivation bases of those demons. All I know is the location of the altar. Forget it. I'll go check it out first. Zhongli confirmed the location and slowly retracted the soul fire into his body. "The three of you, I will now go to the source of the storm and take care of the sacrificial altar in the demon realm. The three of you will stand guard here and prevent the evil spirits from invading. With the three of you, the human race will be very stable. Don't worry. As long as you can make contributions in this calamity, our human system will faithfully record your contributions. When the time comes, you will be able to exchange for the cultivation method of the primordial soul Tao." As expected, Yuan Yin checked her chip and found that there were a lot of points on it. Those were the contribution points of human society. This was because she had just helped the humans find information about the devil race. "Let's also go to the demon race's sacrificial altar and kill more demons," she immediately expressed. "Us celestials are the nemesis of the demon race." "That won't be necessary. The three of you will stand guard here. I will go alone, because too many people will only make things worse. Also, it is very dangerous over there. Only I can handle it." The hidden meaning behind Zhongli's words was that although the three celestials were powerful, they would still be a burden if they went with him to the demon race's sacrificial altar. The three celestials understood, but they did not get angry. Instead, they frowned and thought for a while. "Indeed, it is very dangerous over there. It is better for us to stand guard here." The three celestials were all battle-hardened and knew how to survive in the universe. They would definitely not let themselves meet with a mishap just because of a trivial matter. After having a long life, no one was willing to die. At that moment, many of them decided on a plan. Zhongli's body moved and disappeared. He left the cultivation world and headed deep into the universe. He found a cosmic storm zone in the vast starry sky, and then went to find the demon race's sacrificial altar. He had followed Elephant King and Jun Songxing before, so he was familiar with the path. Soon, he came to the cosmic storm zone. With a whoosh, he went deep into it. The violent storm even shattered space-time. Cultivators of the Great Tao Realm did not dare to go deep into it. However, His current cultivation was equivalent to an expert at the Great Tao realm. He had even comprehended the 12th move of the infinite divine fist, infinite nirvana. He was about to condense the two great nomological laws of oblivion and fate. They were indescribably strong. His body twisted slightly, and he silently entered the storm. His body flashed, and he opened a wormhole. He moved forward at a speed of 1 light year with each step. This cosmic storm was very huge. There were no planets or meteorite belts. It was completely the violent flow of the cosmic storm. The violent flow was the power of space shattering and then combining before being destroyed. It was equivalent to the self-destruction of a saint at every moment. It was no wonder that ordinary great Tao realm experts could not withstand it. The universe was huge, and there were all kinds of strange things. Although saints were strong, in front of the third dimension universe, they were still as insignificant as a drop in the ocean. There is demonic chi in front. As he constantly shuttled through the storm, not only was Zhongli not destroyed by the storm, but his body was also constantly absorbing the power of the storm, producing new energy in his body and compressing it into the matrix. His infinite matrix was dotted with stars, and there seemed to be the smell of a star being born. As expected, the altar of the devil race is in front. He stopped, and his gaze pierced through the storm. He saw that in the center of this cosmic storm, there was a huge altar spinning, absorbing the power of the storm and emitting light. In the past, Zhongli found a canyon on the Emperor Star and built a base in the canyon. He absorbed the wind energy of the divine wind in the canyon and produced energy blocks, which could be used to make a fortune. And now, the cosmic storm here was equivalent to the self-destruction of countless saints at every moment. The power was unbelievably great. Therefore, the devil race built a base here to absorb the energy of the storm, replenish the base, and even cultivate Dharma treasures. This is the means of technology. Is it the technology of the devil race? Zhongli saw that the huge base was like a flying saucer. It was not the aura of Dharma treasures, but the aura of a technological civilization. The devil race actually mastered the power of technology. However, this was normal. The devil race was an advanced civilization, so it was normal to have the power of technology. Also, in the third dimension, Dharma treasures and cultivation would be suppressed if they were too strong. Only the power of technology could be used to its fullest. Therefore, it was normal for the devil race to develop technology. They were preparing to rule the third dimension. The huge base in front of him was about the size of 2 or 3 Earths. It formed a flying saucer, and it was safe in the storm. On the flying saucer, there were demons flying up and down. They were very strong, each about 3 meters tall, and their bodies were pitch black. They had horns on their heads, purple eyes, green hair, and fangs at the corners of their mouths. This was the basic characteristic of the devil race. Only the advanced demons looked exactly like humans. Humans were the most perfect form of evolution, so the immortals in the immortal world all looked like humans. Countless demons were praying in the flying saucer. Above the flying saucer, an ancient door appeared. Inside the door was a passageway to the devil world. However, it was a temporary energy passageway. Energy could descend from it, but humans couldn't ascend or come out. Only the myriad world's celestial sphere could open such a passageway to the material world. What a strong defense! Zhongli was just about to sneak in, but as soon as he neared the flying saucer, he was blocked by an enormous, invisible demonic will. This demonic will was virtually unbreakable, comparable to the defenses of the sovereign ship's AI. There was no way to break through it. Do I have to attack it? But I don't know how many experts there are. What if someone strong appears? When I die? Zhongli wasn't afraid of death, but he was afraid that if he died, humanity would go extinct. Without his suppression, they would fall into chaos again. As he was thinking, he saw a person walk out of the storm. This person was wearing a blood-colored robe. It was Blood Devil Xuejing. After he appeared, he let out a blood-colored light, as if calling out to the expert in the flying saucer. Rumble. The flying saucer shook, and a devil expert appeared. This was the same one Zhongli had seen with Jun Sangsheng and Elephant King. He had 4 great Daos, and if it was a one-on-one fight, Zhongli could kill him with a single punch. But he was just an emissary. There were even stronger experts in the depths of the flying saucer. Powerful existence from the blood world. Why have you come to our Devil Race's base? The Devil Race's emissary asked. Esteemed Devil King, I'm here to ally with you. Our blood world wants to ally with the devil world to fight for the myriad world's celestial sphere, said Blood Devil Shuejing. There's only one myriad world's celestial sphere, and it can't be divided evenly. In the future, there can only be one ruler. Although the blood world and the devil race are both evil, we're evil and orderly. You're evil and chaotic. I don't want to work with you. The devil race was orderly and strict. They were an orderly race, while the blood world was chaotic. They devoured each other and lived in constant danger. Don't tell me you don't even want the good fortune jade disc. Blood Devil Shuejing cackled. The good fortune jade disc? You're saying that the good fortune jade disc is the supreme divine item that went missing in the immortal world? The token of the heavenly court? The token to issue commands and unify the myriad worlds? The emissary trembled. What? Blood Devil Shuejing knows about the good fortune jade disc? Zhongli was flabbergasted. That's right, said Blood Devil Shuejing. The clue to the good fortune jade disc is in one place. Don't you want to go look for it? If you work with me, we'll have a chance. Powerful existence from the blood world, said Blood Devil Shuejing. We've already found the clue to the good fortune jade disc, so we won't be working with you. Hurry up and leave. You've come here to spy on our secrets. A powerful existence appeared on the flying saucer, his voice even more domineering than Blood Devil Shuejing's. Did you find a place called the Cultivation World? That place is similar to the Immortal World. I think it was created by the Grand Emperor of the Immortal World before he died. Blood Devil Shuejing laughed. But let me tell you, the good fortune jade plate isn't in that place. It's in a very powerful star field called the Immortal Tower. Chapter 592. What did you say? A powerful being from the demon race appeared. It was a shadow. This shadow was very faint, and it seemed to be a middle-aged man. He looked very dignified, and there were many lights and runes above his head. It seemed to be suppressing his aura to prevent it from being rejected by the laws of the third dimension universe. Another expert with 5 great Daos, but he doesn't seem to be as relaxed as Shuejing. Zhongli observed in the dark. He suddenly felt that it was a good thing that his cultivation level was low. However, he heard an important piece of news. There is actually news of the good fortune jade disc in the Immortal Tower's star domain, where Ba Liming was located. If that was the case, then it would explain why martial ancestor Ba Liming had appeared there. I am Shuejing. May I know your name? Shuejing asked. Mo Ishiong. The middle-aged man said, You just said that the jade plate of good fortune might be in the Immortal Tower. Is that true? The Immortal Tower is one of the 2 most mysterious places in the third dimension universe. The other place is the brain of the universe star field. These 2 places represent the core mystery of the third dimension universe. Our demon race has also tried to barge into them, but we were all annihilated. How do I know if you're lying to me? I'm definitely not lying to you. This is the top secret of the universe, but I've studied it carefully. Do you know how many outstanding people there are among the humans on Earth? They killed so many people that the angels had a headache. They found clues about the jade plate of good fortune. So one of them went to the Immortal Tower, while the other went to the brain of the universe. You demons control most of the natives in the cultivation world. You should have gotten a lot of information, right? That's right. We know that there are 2 powerful people among the humans on Earth. One is called Wang Chao, and the other is called Ba Liming. These 2 people are very fierce and have the power of gods. That's why we're plotting in secret to lure out these 2 people. Mo Ishiong smiled. There's a powerful leader among them called Zhongli. He's just a saint, but his cultivation is already on par with mine. He's extremely terrifying. I'm afraid he'll become someone like Wang Chao and Ba Liming in the future. So we have to get rid of him now. What do you think? Blood Demon Shuejing said, Other than that, there's also a person called Jiang Nalan among the humans. I know that he is colluding with your devil world, but he is also involved with the angel race. More importantly, he is from the martial world. It is very likely that you will fall into his trap. Killing this small fry is as easy as flipping our palms. Mo Yixiong laughed heartily. Xuejing, I won't work with you. That Jiangli has a few tricks up his sleeve. He's a genius, and I'd like to recruit him into the devil folk. Give him an identity, and he'll be an expert in dealing with the immortal world. Not working with us, Xuejing said. Then I'll have to work with the humans. They should be very willing. Also, let me tell you, the people from the devil folk are already here, and they're working with the humans. You can't hide the fact that you're using the devil folk formation to lure the natives of the cultivation world. You won't be able to hide it from the humans and from the immortals. Those immortals will definitely contact the celestials, and you'll end up in a passive position. Only by working with me can I help you. Think about it. If you refuse me, not only will you lose a friend, but you'll also gain an enemy. The gains don't make up for the losses. How do you want to work with us? Mo Yixiong frowned. He didn't think the people from a blood world were easy to deal with. They were all demons, and they were even crueler than the devil world. Even though the blood world wasn't as big as the devil world, the blood demons there had no bottom line. They were difficult to deal with. For example, they wouldn't work with the people from the celestials. But the demons of the blood world were different. They could work with anyone. It's simple. We'll work together and quickly destroy the humans. Especially that Jiangli. He has godhood, a virtual godhood, and the mother nest of the bug race. We'll split it evenly. How about it? Xuejing smiled mysteriously. Jiangli caught the two's divine will to negotiate. He was a little worried. If the two of them worked together, not only would he fail to destroy the devil altar, he might even meet with a mishap. If it was just one of them, he would be able to fight evenly. But if the two of them worked together, he would definitely not be a match for them. Moreover, there were many experts in the devil world base. Who knows, there might even be experts like Mo Yixiong. If that was the case, he wouldn't even be able to escape. Other than that, there might be experts from the blood world. Everything wasn't as simple as it seemed. Do we move now? Mo Yixiong hesitated for a moment before saying, however, according to our plan, very soon, the natives of the cultivation world will turn into devils. In the end, our devil realm's power will go through their channels and corrode the cultivation world's heaven's will. At that time, the entire cultivation world will become a small devil realm that we can use. The entire world will devour the humans, and Jiangli will not be able to escape this calamity. Everything is in order, and everything is going according to our plan. What can you do to help? That's not for sure. The people from the celestial world have come. If they know about your plan, they'll destroy it immediately. Then that Jiangli will definitely find the altar and destroy it. The people from the celestial world will use this method to deal with you. Maybe Jiangli has already arrived and is ready to destroy your altar. Xuejing smiled brightly. Hearing this, Jiangli's heart tightened. This blood devil Xuejing was too amazing. He could guess everything perfectly. He was simply a scheming and far-sighted school of vertical and horizontal. I know how strong he is. As long as he comes, I can suppress him. That saves me the trouble of searching for him in the cultivation world. Mo Yixiong looked around. His powerful devil sense spread out in the storm. Even the tiniest speck of dust couldn't escape his mental scan. However, he didn't detect Jiangli. At this time, Jiangli's body flickered. His infinite true meaning fused with the void. He was like a dream, not in the real world. All of a sudden, he seemed to comprehend the 13th move of the infinite godly fist. That was the transformation related to dreams. If he truly comprehended this move, he could fuse the various transformations of the great emperor's dream imprint into his infinite godly fist. This would allow his martial arts to reach a deeper level. This was a sign that he was evolving under great pressure. Jiangli isn't here. I just used my devil eye to scan. Nothing can escape my devil eye. Mo Yixiong said proudly. How about this? Since we're working together, you can lure Jiangli out of the cultivation world, and we can kill him together. No problem. Blood Devil Xuejing signaled to Mo Yixiong with his eyes. Suddenly, he pounced towards the place where Jiang Li was hiding. Suddenly, he opened his mouth and spat out a blood-red light. It seemed to be a blood relic, and it illuminated the entire storm red. With the blood relic as the center, the storm was actually suppressed and stopped. Following that, within the blood-colored light, Jiang Li's concealment state was completely destroyed. Crackle, crackle. Jiang Li's figure was revealed in the storm. At this time, Mo Yixiong laughed coldly. He seemed to have activated the flying saucer of the devil race. A green light shot out from it, sealing the storm where Jiang Li was. I've been discovered? Only now did Jiang Li understand that the conversation between these two devils was just an act. They wanted him to lower his guard before suddenly attacking and trapping him. However, the moment he was forced to reveal himself, he didn't feel any fear. Instead, his heart calmed down. He didn't care about life and death. Everyone, you guys are discussing a plot against us humans. Since I'm here, let's stop for a while. Jiang Li said calmly. As expected, it's you, the current leader of humanity, Jiang Li. Mo Yixiong said, I didn't expect you to be so young. Looking at the lifespan shown on your soul fire, it seems like you're only 25,000 world years. In the 10,000 worlds, the true calculation of time was the 10,000 world years. And the 10,000 world years were actually Earth years. Because Earth was a special existence, it was the 10,000 world sphere. The time it rotated could represent the total time in the universe. Jiang Li was only around 25 years old. Mo Yixiong and Xue Jing had thousands of years of lifespan, maybe even longer. For Jiang Li to be able to cultivate to this level at a mere 25 years old, it was a miracle among miracles. Jiang Li, we meet again. You saved those three immortals and have now joined you humans, right? Xue Jing's body shook and turned into many shadows, blocking Jiang Li's path. You came today to destroy the altar. Mo Yixiong raised his head and asked, You've got guts to come here alone. Don't you know you are in a desperate situation? Actually, we felt at the moment you entered the space storm. Our flying saucer is called the Heaven-Defying Battleship. It's the crystallization of our demon race's technology. I know that you humans also have technology, but it's too common. Humans' technology is nothing more than taking advantage of the angel race's technology. It can't compare to our demon race's technology. Let's cut the crap. Let's do it. Jiang Li got into a fighting stance. No rush. No rush. Blood Devil and Xue Jing said, Jiang Li, you are a talent, the best talent. We can't bear to kill you, especially at a time like this. The myriad realms are in turmoil, and experts are descending. Every realm needs to recruit more talents. If you sincerely pledge your allegiance to us, we can definitely nurture you into the strongest. If you join us, I'll report to my superiors. My superior, the Demon God King, will give you the status of Demon King. You'll be on equal footing with me. You might even be taken in as a disciple by the Demon God King. Mo Yixiong said, You guys talk too much. Jiang Li let out a long sigh. I've risked my life for the sake of humanity, fighting to the bitter end. That's why we have today's situation. One by one, your races have always come to destroy our peace. I was born for the sake of battle. My existence is to fight nonstop, to fight for the sake of the entire race and humanity. No matter how cruel you all are, I'm not afraid. He took a step forward and unleashed his fist technique. The 12 moves of the infinite divine fist were displayed consecutively. When it came to the last move, the infinite nirvana, his fist technique had already formed a huge force field. The force field was filled with the infinite fire formed by the infinite nirvana of the infinite true chi. His entire person seemed to have turned into the dimension of fire and descended here. Chapter 593. Rumble. Countless changes occurred in the heaven and earth. Jiang Li's fists actually attacked Mo Yixiong and Xue Jing at the same time. His indomitable aura had long disregarded life and death. Life and death were like a dream. How many autumns would a dream last? Although the two devils in front of him were extremely powerful, he couldn't retreat now. His original purpose of coming here was to destroy the devil race's sacrificial altar. Since it was being developed, he might as well fight. His strength was enough to uproot mountains and rivers. Courting death, Mo Xiong's body soared into the air. His fists swayed, and instantly, the air was filled with the wails of ghosts and gods. 10,000 devils devour immortal. A gigantic bloody mouth appeared in his fists, containing the might to devour the entire immortal world. As for Blood Devil and Xue Jing, they flicked their hands, and many blood-colored threads shot out from them. They interweaved into a dense net that wrapped around Jiang Li's body. With the two devils joining hands, Jiang Li's attack was dispelled in an instant. Infinite Devour. Jiang Li expanded the might of his fists, doing his best to devour the injuries from the two experts, converting them into his own energy. His soul fire flickered unceasingly as he unleashed the profundities of the infinite godly fist. His body dashed left and right, sometimes south, sometimes north, sometimes east, sometimes west. Tao of devouring? Competing with our devil world in devouring? You're simply seeking your own humiliation. Mo Xiong's fist vibrated, twisting and turning. Suddenly, a devil pounced forward and bit down on Qin Wentian. The two fists collided, but unexpectedly, there wasn't the slightest shockwave. Instead, there was only a dull thud, as though they had struck each other. Both of them had absorbed the other's attack. Jiang Li only felt an incomparably heavy pressure on his chest, as though he had inhaled poisonous gas. The evil devilish will had invaded his body, and in the blink of an eye, it was even starting to invade the depths of his soul fire. His soul fire was originally pure, but now it was tainted with a layer of black devilish qi and was about to be extinguished at any time. He took in a deep breath, and instantly, the profundities of different dimensions opened up around him. Boundless energy poured down, burning around his body. It was the infinite nirvana technique again. After his nirvana, his body was as good as new, and the invading demonic was completely burned and disintegrated. At this moment, Blood Devil Xue Jing's blood-colored threads had already wrapped around him. However, after undergoing nirvana, his cultivation base was even stronger than before. With a single punch, a knife hand slashed through the air. Whoosh! All the blood-colored threads were cut open. He let out a long roar, and purple flames appeared in his eyes. Two great paths actually appeared in his eyes. Wherever his gaze landed, time and space would be sliced into countless fragments. It was as if an ancient god had completely torn it apart, and it was also as if doomsday had arrived. You actually refined the immortal slaying great Tao and immortal ending great Tao into your eyes and started to fuse them with your body? Could it be that you want to refine your body into a special magical weapon in the future? Blood Devil Xue Jing had never expected that in just a few days, Jiang Li's cultivation base would reach such a level. It was simply incomparable to back then. Actually, Jiang Li's cultivation base was very low, and there was still a lot of room for improvement. Moreover, as the human race prospered, the karmic luck connected to the Grand Emperor's relic, and the relic's power was gradually recovering. With the help of this godhood, his comprehension of martial arts profundities naturally improved by leaps and bounds. And most importantly, he had yet to cultivate the law of indifference and the law of fate. This was a critical point. Once he succeeded, his cultivation base would increase by a lot. Kill. Mo Xiong devoured Jiang Li's fist force, but he discovered that it was as hard as a boulder, and he couldn't absorb it at all. He could only shake it out of his body, and then a demonic cloud surged out from his body. The demonic cloud billowed, and his divine will shot up into the sky, as though the prayers of numerous devils and devils were blessing him. His psyche was like a destructive force that could collapse the sky, and he once again attacked Jiang Li. In my name, I summon the mighty will of slaughter from the devil world, slay immortals. A saber light appeared in Mo Xiong's hand, and with a slight slash, the two worlds were split apart. The saber light flickered, piercing through heaven and earth, connecting to the distant future. Combined with his movement technique and demonic cloud billowing, He was like an unparalleled devil god that could destroy the entire universe. Bang, 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 bang. The saber light fell like raindrops, slashing at the energy field around Zhongli. With just one strike, Zhongli's defenses were shattered, and his naked body was revealed. Blood Kill seizing life. Seeing an opening, Blood Devil Shui Jing's body transformed into a beam of blood-colored sword light. He transformed his body into a curved sword, and the blade was filled with saw teeth. In an instant, it coiled around Zhongli's body. If he was struck, Zhongli's body would definitely transform into countless amounts of blood and be absorbed by him. Zhongli's body flashed repeatedly, dodging the attack. However, Mo Yixiong let out another roar and attacked again. This time, his attack was even more ferocious. Both his fists pressed together, and the demonic cloud around his body actually rang out with demonic thunder. It was as though millions of war drums were beating at the same time, and it was as though an army of devils was surging towards Zhongli. With him as the center, densely packed divine lightning descended from the sky. These divine lightning were filled with devil chi, and the power of resentment shook the three worlds. It was as though countless people who had been wronged were crying and complaining. Resentment lightning. He formed seals with his hands, and with a move, the wind and clouds rose. The second move, thunderclap. The third move, towering resentment. The fourth move, the wrath of heaven. The fifth move, the arrival of devil lightning. Mo Yixiong's lightning technique was purely the devil lightning of the devil world. It was definitely different from ordinary divine lightning. It was the lightning of darkness, a terrifying attack that could cause one to sink forever, unable to reincarnate for 10,000 lifetimes. He stood high up in the sky, stepping on the demonic cloud. Behind him, streams of resentment transformed into many arms. It was as though the hands of those who had been wronged had reached out from the depths of hell, wanting to drag people down with them. Such an attack is truly terrifying. With one look, Zhongli knew that he could not defend against such an attack, nor could he escape. The only way was to fight with his life on the line, seeking a chance of survival amidst the cruel slaughter. His hands formed all sorts of complicated seals. It was as though he was praying, as though he was offering sacrifices, and also as though he was commanding the people. His soul fire instantly expanded to twice its original size. He opened his hands, and his eyes pierced out with the power to slay immortals and extinguish immortals. He circulated his entire body, and the infinite divine fist once again increased in strength. You want to focus your mind to resist? Dream on. When Blood Devil Shui Jing saw Zhongli's appearance, he knew that Mo Yixiong's attack was a threat to him. He had to focus all his strength to resist, and this was the best opportunity for Blood Devil Shui Jing to attack. Whoosh! Blood Devil Shui Jing's body transformed into a blood-colored needle, and with a flash, it ruthlessly pierced into Zhongli's body. This blood-colored needle was different from his previous attacks. It was the condensation of his entire body's strength, focusing it at a single point. It was a sure kill attack. Blood Devil Incarnation, Heavenly Origin Strike. This attack of his was called the Heavenly Origin Strike. All his energy, soul fire, and mental power were concentrated at a single point. With a sudden thrust, even those with a higher cultivation base than him would find it hard to resist. Kacha, kacha! The blood-colored needle pierced into Zhongli's body. Momentarily, Zhongli's expression changed, and his body started to explode. Fresh blood flowed out from his body. At this moment, Mo Yixiong's attack also descended. His attack was immensely powerful, the complete opposite of Blood Devil Shui Jing's attack. With the two attacks combined, Zhongli was instantly engulfed by the thunder fire. Under this attack, Zhongli turned into ashes. No traces of his existence could be found anymore. It was as though he had truly been killed. At this moment, Zhongli entered a state of death once again. His soul fire was scattered, but he didn't die. The danger this time was even greater than before. But his cultivation base was much higher than before, and he was on the brink of death. Very good. The infinite godly fist's most profound profundities are combined with the Grand Emperor's seal's dream. With that, I will be able to comprehend the 13th move of the infinite godly fist. Zhongli was used to comprehending martial arts under immense pressure. All of a sudden, his soul fire gathered once more, and this time, it was even stronger than before. It absorbed Blood Devil Shui Jing and Mo Yixiong's attacks. Infinite Godly Fist's 13th move, Infinite Dream. Zhongli had finally comprehended the 13th move, fusing the Infinite Dream imprint's quintessence into the Infinite Godly Fist. This was a moment of historical significance. It was definitely different from the various moves of the Infinite Godly Fist in the past. That was because Zhongli had started cultivating the Grand Emperor's seal. After walking on his own path, he had comprehended the infinite transformations and had yet to reach grand completion. But now, he had comprehended the 13th move. It could be said that he had completely comprehended the true core of the Grand Emperor's seal. Life has always been endless. Endless dreams. Whether it exists or not, it's meaningless. Jiang Li's soul fire flickered. His body was intact, and in the face of the violent attacks, he was like a reef. No matter how much the wind and waves crashed against him, he didn't budge at all. Countless halos and runes appeared above his head, forming one dreamscape after another. These dreamscapes fused together, and with an intense tremor, they transformed into reality. At this time, Blood Devil Shui Jing and Mo Yixiong's attacks were all channeled into his body, transforming the dreamscape into reality. Heaven and earth transformed. The sun and moon rotated, and space and time mourned. Within Jiang Li's infinite matrix, the laws of oblivion and the laws of fate were being strengthened by the attacks. The infinite matrix has taken form. For laws, truth, fate, emotion, and fate. Establish my infinite Tao, seize the workings of the myriad worlds, and steal the profundities of the void. Many thanks. Cracking sounds could be heard from within Jiang Li's body, like the sound of water freezing. That was the sound of magical runes condensing into laws. The tempest around him had stopped. With him at the center, all of the tempest energy in the surrounding light years had been sucked dry. At this moment, the power of the laws inside Jiang Li's body was equivalent to swallowing dozens of suns. The energy inside him was wriggling, transforming, and finally condensing into a hazy mist. This was the transformation of infinite true qi, a poetic primal power. In this moment, he had completely cultivated the four laws. Jiang Li's soul fire had turned golden, like a zenith golden immortal from the immortal world. He was a god. Chapter 594. Jiang Li's soul fire had always been special for a few reasons. First, he was a human from Earth and had been affected by the celestial sphere of the myriad worlds, so his soul was very special. Second, he had godhood, which he had refined day and night and had been tainted with divinity. Third, he had created his own great Tao and evolved various laws, opening a desolate path in the darkness of chaos. His will was unimaginably firm. Due to these various reasons, the soul fire evolved from his spirit was extremely vigorous, and it also contained a special nature. Now, under the pressure, he had advanced once again. He had successfully cultivated the laws of emotion and fate. The boundless matrix had completed its framework, and it was as solid as a boulder. This was like building a 30,000-meter tall building. He had finally built a solid foundation. From now on, there would be no disturbances that could destroy the building. The boundless Grand Tao had stabilized. Truth, fate, emotion, fate. These four frames formed the foundation of the boundless matrix. Truth was the truth of cultivation, the truth of reality. Life was the fate of life, the fate of fate. Emotion was the emotion of emotion, but also the emotionless emotion. Fate was the fate of fate, the fate of karma. Truth was the material. Life was the energy that controlled the material. Emotion was the feeling that made the material meaningful. Fate was the line that made the material interact with each other. With all the foundations gathered, Jiang Li's body was as stable as the myriad world celestial sphere. In a trance, he comprehended more profundities of the myriad world's celestial sphere. These things gathered together to form Jiang Li's current body. His aura covered the sky, and he could control the cosmos with one hand. In a breath, he could devour the sun and moon, grab 1,000 stars, and slay heavenly gods. Puffed. A puff of white smoke shot out, and Mo Yixiong was sent flying. What is this? It can blow me away with a puff of air? Mo Yixiong could not believe his own eyes. Just now, he had unleashed his divine might and was about to kill Jiang Li, but he did not expect Jiang Li to be able to escape from death's door and suddenly comprehend a killer move, absorbing all of their attacks and even cultivating an absolute art. His aura was like a surging river, like heaven and earth were being split apart, like a world was being formed. His opponent's puff of air was unstoppable. What kind of attack was it? Mo Yixiong had no idea. He was about to go crazy. On the other hand, Blood Devil Shui Jing was much calmer. He formed back into a blood shadow and dodged Jiang Li's attack. Jiang Li, you really do have the ability to come back from the brink of death, he said. I can't believe you broke through at a time like this. You're using our ultimate attacks to temper yourself. But do you really think you can fight against both the devil world and the blood world on your own? The two of you can represent two worlds. Jiang Li smiled and said, even the god behind you can't represent the will of the entire world. The power you can use is only this little. I can totally kill you. You're too arrogant. Mo Yixiong's expression changed. I admit that you have some power, but if you want to kill us, that's a fool's dream. Do you think you've completely escaped danger? You're actually joking. You still don't know the true power of our demon world. As he spoke, Mo Yixiong waved his hand again, and a ball of green light rose up from the devil world flying saucer, condensing into a jade green color. The entire place was filled with phosphorescent lights. Demon Emperor Relic. Mo Yixiong looked at the ball of green light. This is the core of our demon world's heaven-defying battleship. It's called the Demon Emperor Relic. It's also a virtual divinity. I know that you humans seized the angel race's prophet battleship and obtained the prophet's AI, giving you many of your technologies. Now, I'll let you know the power of our Demon Emperor Relic. Demon Emperor Relic. Jiang Li looked at the ball of green light and knew it was powerful. It was something similar to the AI of the sovereign ship, a virtual divinity. It wasn't as powerful as the AI of the Legion ship, but it was definitely powerful. This heaven-defying battleship was the size of 3 Earths. For such a huge battleship, the AI within it had to be extremely powerful. Now, that Mo Yixiong was using the power of the AI of the Demon Emperor Relic, it had instantly risen by several levels. Roar! A wave of green light enveloped Jiang Li like an ocean. Mo Yixiong's psychic fluctuations could be heard. Jiang Li, I originally didn't want to use this trump card, but you're too strong. No matter what tricks you use, I only have one word for you. Break. Jiang Li closed his eyes, allowing the green light to press down on him. The infinity array in his body activated, and the 4 laws revolved around each other, interlocking with each other. His infinity god fist danced out. Rumble. Infinity dream. The dream was born, and one dream after another appeared in the real world. He wanted to turn the real world into a dream world, or rather, he wanted to manifest his dreams in the real world. The green light that was pressing down was actually torn apart by him, layer by layer. He rushed in front of Mo Yixiong, and with a single punch, Mo Yixiong was sent flying. Mo Yixiong still couldn't block his punch. Has this guy gone crazy? Blood Devil Shui Jing's body flickered continuously, drifting backwards. He felt that things were not looking good. This Jiang Li in front of him was really hard to deal with. He might as well retreat first. However, as he retreated, another Jiang Li appeared behind him. His psychic voice transmitted, Shui Jing, what you see is an illusion. You are dreaming. I didn't actually send Mo Yixiong flying. The one who was sent flying was actually you. What? Blood Devil Shui Jing looked at himself in disbelief. A large hand pierced through his chest, and he was sent flying, escaping from the green light at an inconceivable speed. Mo Yixiong didn't move and was still in his original position. Zhongli didn't send him flying with a single punch. Everything was an illusion. Or perhaps Zhongli's dream had affected his psyche, causing him to be hallucinating. He had retreated, falling for Zhongli's trick. A brilliant light appeared on Zhongli's hand, as though the kingdom of heaven had descended. In an instant, all the great Tao in his body was frozen, and even his soul fire was imprisoned. This wasn't the power of Zhongli's own body, but the power of the AI of the sovereign. No, it should be the power of the AI of the infinite. Originally, the AI of the infinite couldn't teleport him here, but with the addition of the Grand Emperor's relic, things were different. As long as Zhongli didn't stray too far, within 100 million light years, he could still borrow the power of the godhood at any time. This was because he had a wormhole in his body, but if he was too far away, such as billions or billions of light years away, he would lose connection with the godhood. He would have to rely on his own cultivation, and even the cultivation world's heavens wouldn't be able to help him. Zhongli's own strength had already surpassed blood devil Shui Jing's, and with the help of the AI, of the infinite and the Grand Emperor's relic, he was able to suppress the demon in one fell swoop. However, suppressing the demon didn't mean he could kill it. Blood demons were the hardest to kill. Even after refining, some blood demons could hide in the depths of a person's heart, tainting the cultivator with demonic nature. Of course, Zhongli wouldn't refine them. What he wanted to do was to sacrifice them. He wanted to sacrifice blood, devil Shui Jing, to the immortal world. Mighty immortal world's will, I am now fighting the demons. Sacrifice the blood demon and destroy the demon's plot. Immortal world's will, descend a peerless azure energy to strengthen my soul fire. Zhongli's divine will instantly flickered through the immortal world's passcode, connecting to it and beginning the sacrifice. An immortal world gate appeared above his head. Countless runes descended from the gate, and then blood devil Shui Jing let out an ear-piercing scream. Don't sacrifice me. The sacrifice of a cultivator of 5 great Taos, especially a demon, is very beneficial to the immortal world's will. I've profited greatly from this sacrifice. My soul fire will multiply. Zhongli's soul fire had been nourished last time, so this sacrifice was naturally to increase its power and increase his psychic power. As expected, the moment blood devil Shui Jing was sacrificed, Zhongli's entire body was enveloped in a peerless azure energy. The heavens truly favored him. This azure energy was like lamp oil, specifically used to strengthen one's soul fire. Just a bit of it, and Zhongli's soul fire crackled, as if oil had been poured onto a fire. Under the influence of his psychic power, the infinite godly fist's power practically doubled. In just one breath, blood devil Shui Jing was sacrificed. Blood devil Shui Jing was sacrificed. Peerless green qi poured out of his body like a waterfall. It was 10 times more than the underworld race being sacrificed last time. When that underworld race being sacrificed himself, Zhongli's soul flame was nourished. And now, the source of his soul flame was strengthened. That soul flame was infused with a peerless green energy. Its color was completely golden, and the flames rose like a raging sacred flame that would never be extinguished. Blood devil Shui Jing became a part of the immortal world's essence and was absorbed as if he had never come to this world. Your soul fire has reached this level. At this point, Mo Yixiong was dumbfounded. He had never imagined that Zhongli would be so savage. In the blink of an eye, he had captured blood devil Shui Jing and sacrificed him. His soul flame grew stronger, and the gate to the immortal world opened. Zhongli let out a long roar and absorbed all of the supreme azure qi into his body. At this time, he began to truly face Mo Yixiong, as well as the demon emperor relic above his head. Mo Yixiong, do you still want to struggle? Zhongli's psychic power was unprecedentedly strong, and he felt like he could even comprehend the 14th stance of the infinite godly fist. As expected, the soul fire was the foundation. The stronger it was, the stronger one's cultivation base would be, and many profound mysteries of the martial Tao could be comprehended. Moreover, when Zhongli breathed in slightly, all the cosmic storms here would rush into his body. He felt as if he could suck an entire galaxy into his body with a single breath. We don't know who will win and who will lose. You don't know the true secrets of the devil world, Mo Yixiong said gravely. The real battle has just begun. What a pitiful person. Zhongli shook his head. This time, I obtained a complete victory. I plundered this demon base in front of me, sacrificed the demons, seized the demon Emperor Relic's photon computer, and obtained the demon technology within. Then I fused it with our photon computers, and the insectoid mother nest will advance. Chapter 595. 10,000 Devils Devour the Heart. Mo Yixiong made his move. His body merged with the green light, and devilish chi surged. Ghostly immortals swirled around him, and with a single move, he began to attack. What he used was not a fist technique, but a claw technique. Claw shadows tore through the air, bringing with them wails of anguish and vital energy that directly corroded the souls of his opponents. Zhongli was enveloped by the claw images, and his soul flame seemed to be covered by a shadow. However, the power of his soul flame had increased dramatically, and he didn't care about such an attack. The shadow flickered, and Zhongli was completely unharmed. You can't do anything to me, Mo Yixiong. Since you have the Devil Emperor Sarira's photonic computer and virtual godhood, I'll use the true godhood to fight you. Let's see if the true godhood is stronger or the virtual godhood. The image of the Grand Emperor Sarira appeared above Zhongli's head, a mass of primal chaos light that protected him. His soul flame had increased dramatically, and his psychic power had reached a level that ordinary people couldn't even imagine. That was why he was able to use the Grand Emperor Sarira with such immense psychic power. Nonsense! Mo Yixiong's claw was already reaching for his throat. That kind of speed could break through all defenses. Zhongli's defensive, true energy couldn't block it, and even the image of the Grand Emperor Sarira was trembling. Zhongli took a step back and met the claw with a claw. His 5 fingers were shaped like dragons, and as they curved, runes appeared on his fingertips, as well as the image of a group of immortals descending. In addition, with a slight movement of his fingertips, stars began to fall, faintly revealing the image of the brain of the universe. This was a fist technique he had come up with after studying the Grand Emperor Seal and the infinite godly fist. In the third dimension universe, the brain of the universe star territory and the immortal tower star territory were all dominating existences. They were mysterious and powerful, and even gods could not ignore them. Visualizing those star territories would allow one to gain immense power, and Zhongli had actually hidden these things in his own attacks. Crack! His claw clashed with Mo Yixiong's claw, and as soon as the two clawed together, they transformed into a ripping attack. In the martial path, claw against claw, clashing and tearing at each other, had the most variations. But at this moment, Zhongli's martial path was clearly above Mo Yixiong's. This was because he had sacrificed blood demon Xuejing to obtain a powerful strength, and he also had a true divinity godhead to suppress the demon Emperor Relic. With a sound, he broke Mo Yixiong's claw. After that, he took another step forward and clawed at Mo Yixiong's head. In the depths of Mo Yixiong's head, there was a ball of soul fire that was extremely vigorous. He had to grab it and do his best to seal and destroy it. Only then would he be able to destroy Mo Yixiong's combat strength. Zhongli, who had comprehended 4 laws, his strength was already above Mo Yixiong's. Demon World Domination. Mo Yixiong hurriedly retreated, dodging Zhongli's attacks. However, it was to no avail. Zhongli's claw viciously grabbed onto his head. Bang! Mo Yixiong's head exploded from the claw. His soul fire appeared, forming a formation. This was a formation formed by devils and devils. 5 grand Daos revolved around it, forming a sturdy defense. Zhongli actually discovered that these 5 grand Daos weren't contained in the Grand Emperor Relic. The Grand Emperor Relic's Grand Daos were all passed down from the immortal world. Clearly, the Grand Emperor had a deep connection with the immortal world. Mo Xiong's Grand Daos were the typical Devil Dao. Among them were the Sin Grand Dao, Heart Devil Grand Dao, Vengeful Spirit Grand Dao, Sin Grand Dao, and Misfortune Grand Dao. Each of them was a Devil Dao that specialized in harming people. They wanted to harvest, devour, and torture the souls of others. Actually, directly devouring the souls of living beings was better. Some of the Grand Daos specialized in capturing living beings and using all sorts of methods to torture them, generating resentment and hatred. Then, they would absorb the power of resentment and hatred as their foundation. That was the Devil Dao. Directly killing people and torturing people were fundamentally different. Killing was the law of the jungle, with a strong preyed on the weak. Torturing people was perverted and twisted. That was the Devil Dao. The Grand Emperor Relic contained the Grand Daos of devouring and killing, but there were no Daos of torture. When Zhongli saw Mo Xiong's Grand Daos, his heart stirred. He didn't hold back and attacked once more. Dong, 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 dong. He closed in step by step. Each step he took in the air would cause one's soul to tremble. His body moved according to a certain rhythm, synchronizing with the three dimensions of the universe. The power of the stars was imbued into his body. He punched out again. On his fist, motes of starlight appeared. He actually punched out the universe brain star domain, which seemed to be connected to Zhongli as one. Zhongli was borrowing the power of the universe brain. Pung. This fist was something Mo Xiong couldn't block at all. All the arrays were destroyed, and the 5 Grand Daos and the Soul Fire actually scattered, unable to connect to each other. It was extremely dangerous, extremely dangerous. The relationship between the Soul Fire and the Grand Daos was like the commander and the soldiers. The commander commanded the soldiers in an orderly manner. Once they were separated, the commander would lose the protection of the soldiers, and that would be dangerous. Good chance. Zhongli grabbed the chance. His body flickered, and the stars in the sky fell down. Light flashed everywhere, dispersing the demonic qi. He took another step forward. He didn't use his claws, but his fingers. His fingers were like needles, and all the power was concentrated on one point. This was the Sky Origin Strike, the strongest attack he had learned from Blood Devil Xuejing. The Sky Origin Strike was extremely ancient and wasn't a technique of the Blood World, but had been passed down there. Blood Devil Xuejing used the Sky Origin Strike to use the Blood Demon Needle, which was actually a waste of resources. But Zhongli used the Sky Origin Strike to use the Infinite Godly Fist, which was many times more powerful than the Blood Demon Needle. When he sacrificed Blood Devil Xuejing, Zhongli had already searched through all his martial arts memories and learned the Sky Origin Strike. Selling on the spot, killing Mo Xiong was a piece of cake. One strike, the Infinite Godly Fist gathered, and Zhongli's body fluttered. He suddenly struck out, Infinite Sky Origin. He had comprehended the 14th move of the Infinite Godly Fist. Infinite Sky Origin. Sky Origin was the origin point of the heavens. At the very center, where all the heavens were concentrated, 10,000 heavens gathered, 10,000 heaven origin point. Sky Origin Strike. Infinite Sky Origin. At the moment Zhongli attacked, all the power was concentrated on one point. This strike instantly broke through the 5 Great Daos, and the fist force was like a tidal wave, bombarding the Soul Fire one after another. ZZZ. Mo Xiong's Soul Fire screamed miserably as he tried to dodge Zhongli's attack. But unfortunately, Zhongli's attack contained an infinite amount of Heaven Yuan energy and was simply too terrifying. Even the phantom of the Demon Emperor relic was shattered, and the source of Mo Xiong's Soul Fire was wounded. He fled at high speed, but Zhongli took it one step further. With a claw, the Infinite Sky Origin Strike changed again, and the 10,000 heavens and 10,000 worlds were in his grasp. No, don't grab me, Mo Xiong screamed and begged for mercy, appearing extremely cowardly. He could no longer control his negative emotions. This was one of the drawbacks of cultivating the devil path. It was very easy for one to enter cultivation deviation and lose their rationality. There was simply too much resentment in the Tao. However, Zhongli didn't care about his pleas at all. He fiercely grabbed him and began to sacrifice him. In my name, I sacrificed devils and devil race experts to the immortal world. May the heavens will of the immortal world favor me. Zhongli used his psyche to communicate with the immortal world. Instantly, Mo Yixiong transformed into flames, shooting into the depths of the void. After that, the gate to the immortal world opened, and a giant hand appeared. This time, it wasn't an infusion of green qi, but the heaven's will of the immortal world. This giant hand was actually a color that had never been seen before. It was ancient and vicissitudes, representing the vicissitudes of time and the evolution of history. It was unknown how many years had passed, but the primordial energy of the primordial world poured into the depths of Jiang Li's mind. The giant hand of the immortal world caressed his head. This was the boundless comprehension of the immortal world. This was of a higher level than the peerless green qi. The heaven's will of the immortal world was transmitting a portion of its own comprehension to Jiang Li. It was injecting its own cultivation experience, the transformations of the heavenly Taos, the advancement techniques, and everything else into the depths of his soul flame. In this way, the martial arts experience Jiang Li obtained wouldn't just be a little bit stronger. It would be invaluable. After all, the benefits of sacrificing devils were much greater than sacrificing the blood race. The greatest enemy of the immortal world was the devil race. Every time a devil was sacrificed, the immortal world would obtain a portion of the information of the devil world, and even its essence. Immortals were sacrificed in the same way. Therefore, what Jiang Li obtained from sacrificing Mo Yixiong far surpassed what he obtained from sacrificing Blood Devil Xuejing. His soul flame swelled up once more, and within the flames, a dazzling golden light could be seen. The golden light condensed into golden needles that shot out in all directions. The strength of his soul flame increased once more. Right now, my psychic power must be at least a few thousand dimensional units. As Jiang Li did some calculations, the Grand Emperor Saraira began to display his psychic power. Your psychic power is at 8,965 dimensional units. The Grand Emperor Saraira's systems accurately calculated Jiang Li's value, and he was about to break the 5 digits. Back on Earth, sages had psychic scales in the hundreds and great Tao experts in the thousands. The further one got, the harder it would be to break through. After reaching the great Tao level, it would be very difficult to increase one's psychic scale by even the tiniest bit. Jiang Li had sacrificed himself several times to gain boundless enlightenment. Generally speaking, great Tao experts had a psychic scale of 1,000, and those with 2 grand Taos had a psychic scale of 2,000. Jiang Li's current level of psychic power put him at the level of an expert with 9 grand Taos, which was completely shocking. Of course, he still couldn't match up to someone with 9 grand Taos. His cultivation level was simply too low. He would have to wait until he could cultivate more magical laws and master the boundless great Tao. That said, I'm going to take this devilish altar. I'll sacrifice all of these devils to the immortal world, and I'll take the Devil Emperor Saraira's photonic computer. After killing Mo Yixiong, Jiang Li landed on the Devil Race's flying saucer-defying battleship. Chapter 596. The Demon Race's flying saucer, the heaven-defying battleship, the Demon Emperor Relic, the Demon Lords, Demon Kings, Demon Generals, and the Demon Race's sacrificial altar were all there. Jiang Li's goal this time was to subdue the heaven-defying battleship and become the ruler of this place. He would obtain a huge amount of resources and even unify the cultivation world. The moment he landed on the heaven-defying battleship, his mental flame spread out and turned into data. He started hacking into the battleship's AI, the Demon Emperor Relic. This was the same as when he hacked into the Prime God's AI, the Prophet's ship. He didn't start a massacre immediately. Instead, he hacked into the AI of the battleship. As long as he could subdue the entire AI, the demons wouldn't even be able to die. This was what it meant to capture the ringleader first. His powerful thoughts instantly pierced into the depths of the Devil Emperor Relic's photonic computer. He saw a devil sitting at the very center of the battleship. This devil's body flickered with green light, and it wore a jade-green robe. It seemed to be a patriarch of the Devil Tao, the founder of the Devil Tao. His body kept spinning in it. The green flames turned into data, filling up the entire world. This was the core of the AI, of the Demon Emperor Relic. Its technology was different from the Prime God's AI, but it was still technology. It wasn't cultivation, nor was it a magical treasure. The difference between magical treasures and technology was that one had an independent soul, while the other was purely made up of data. One had emotions, while the other was emotionless. Magical treasures had weapon spirits, and weapon spirits were life. The AI didn't have any weapon spirits. It was purely a human brain made up of data and didn't have any emotions. The emotionless AI could be used in the third dimension no matter how strong it was. As for those with emotions, once their strength reached a certain level, they would be repelled by the universe. Zhongli suddenly had a feeling that the universe of the third dimension should be the main world. The other dimensions, including the immortal realm, couldn't be called the main world. Infinite Devour. Jiang Li's thoughts appeared in the Demon Emperor Relic system. In front of the Demon Tao Patriarch, he didn't say much. He directly used the infinite Great Tao to devour the entire system with his own soul flame. Die! The Demon Tao Patriarch's green robe unfurled. The ghastly flames in his eyes burned as he spat out a single word. It was the word die. Jiang Li's body spun. His hand was like a dragon's claw, grabbing at the void. His fingers were like hooks as they crushed down fiercely. As soon as the die character arrived in front of him, he grabbed it and crushed it. It was completely ineffective against him. Infinite Heaven Essence. Jiang Li's body changed again and again. His claws were like the wind. Every time he clawed, he displayed all the secrets of the Sky Origin Strike. He was not familiar with the Sky Origin Strike before, but he was able to use it more and more vividly in a battle like this. The martial path of the Infinite Divine Fist was getting faster and faster, its power getting stronger and stronger, and its killing intent getting sharper and sharper. As for the Devil Ancestor of the Devil Emperor system, he didn't move at all. His entire body was covered in green flames, as though he was a legendary green-robed old ancestor. He didn't have the slightest bit of emotions that belonged to the devil race or the human race. When he attacked, he was completely using the fist techniques and martial arts of the ancestor of the Devil Tao. Although it was a casual attack, it contained the resentment and devilish energy of the heavens and earth. Compared to Mo Yixiong's martial arts, it was many times more profound. The Great Emperor has arrived. Jiang Li activated the power of the Grand Emperor Sarira, and a primordial emperor appeared in the photonic computer system. Jiang Li connected to the human system and used the power of the human race to suppress the Devil Tao founder system. Rumble. In the depths of the system, the destiny of the human race descended, instantly diluting the demonic will. The massive amount of data from the human race entered the Devil Tao Patriarch system, causing the system to collapse. The Devil Tao Patriarch began to crumble. Jiang Li seized the opportunity. His whole body moved, and flames appeared on his body. These were data flames, not real flames, but they were also nirvanic rebirth. Infinite nirvana, the nirvana of all living things, the nirvana of the demonic Tao. Turn the demonic into the Tao. Turn evil into righteousness. Jiang Li let out a long howl. I smashed the Devil Tao Patriarch into pieces with one punch, and then his body burned with raging flames. Not long later, the entire human system was connected. After the Devil Tao Patriarch underwent nirvana, he became an existence similar to an immortal. He really turned over a new leaf. The Devil Tao Patriarch system was now part of the human system, and was now a part of the human race, not a part of the Devil Tao Patriarch. Then, the interior of the heaven-defying battleship underwent earth-shaking changes. Now, this battleship belonged to the humans, not the demons. In the blink of an eye, the control of the heaven-defying battleship began to shift. There were still plenty of devils in the depths of the heaven-defying battleship, and they had no idea what had happened. What's going on? Our connection to the Devil Tao Patriarch system has been severed? We can't control the Devil Emperor Sarira? The Devil Sovereign of the Devil Tao Patriarch system was leading the Devil Kings, Generals, and Devil Ghosts in prayer. There was an enormous altar in the depths of the heaven-defying battleship, and it was connected to the Devil Tao Patriarch system. The prayers of all living beings could be heard, and the power of the Devil Tao Patriarch system was being transmitted. But now, the Devil fire was extinguished. Many of the devils could sense that their connection to the Devil Tao Patriarch system had been severed. Even as they were at a loss as to what to do, an immense power swept through the altar. It was the god power of the heaven-defying battleship, as well as Jiang Li's own god power. With just one tremble, all of them were turned to ashes. They had all been sacrificed. Then, the immortal realm descended upon Jiang Li's body, and many more auras of favor descended upon him. Your mental power has reached 9,000 dimensional units. The Grand Emperor Sarira was inspecting the strength of his soul fire. This time, Jiang Li's mental power was comparable to experts with 9 grand hours. Not bad, not bad. Jiang Li saw the devils in the heaven-defying battleship disappear, and he couldn't help but nod. He scanned with his divine will and found many treasures stored in the depths of the heaven-defying battleship. Start the heaven-defying battleship and head to the cultivation world. Jiang Li moved, and the entire battleship started to warp. This battleship was made by the devil race, and it was much more advanced than the human race's technology. After entering the cultivation world, humans would have the ability to travel long distances, and technology would once again explode. The heaven-defying battleship started to move, and it disappeared into the storm without a sound. Then, it didn't use wormhole warp, but a planar folding method. Actually, wormhole warp was the most primitive method in the universe. There was also a higher-level warp method, which was planar folding. The two universes were folded, and the distance between them was infinitely close. The human race's warship technology could only warp through wormholes, and not between two universes. In other words, human warships couldn't warp through other dimensions, but this heaven-defying battleship could. Otherwise, the devil race wouldn't have been able to warp through the devil world. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the enormous heaven-defying battleship entered the depths of the cultivation world and landed in the human base, where it started to fuse with planet infinity. The battleship broke down, and countless insectoids flew out from the depths of planet infinity. They analyzed the technology of the devil race and stored the data. After that, the human scientists also started to study it. Dreamkite and the 3 immortals ran over and looked at the enormous heaven-defying battleship in disbelief. My God, the heaven-defying battleship of the devil race. Did you really destroy the devil race's sacrificial altar? Did your cultivation level increase by quite a bit? That's right, Yang Qi said. I sacrificed all of the devil race to cut off their source of faith. It's like pulling the firewood from under the pot. The next thing we need to do is deal with the sections. I'm sure their devilish nature has flared up. That's secondary, Jiang Li said. The photonic computer of the limitless and the heaven-defying battleship are starting to fuse. Humanity's systems are going to upgrade, and our technology is going to reach a new level. If we're given a few decades to develop, we'll definitely become a powerful race. Now that the systems are upgrading, there are many problems that need to be dealt with. As for the sects, let's observe them for now. Of course, we have to observe them first. Saving them right now isn't the right thing to do. Jiang Li smiled. Once they're bewitched and filled with hatred, we'll act. If we help them now, they won't appreciate it. In fact, they'll think we're bullying them. Activate observation mode. Dream Paper Kite activated the human system. At the foot of sky-piercing peak, many sects were practicing their formations. All of a sudden, the light of the formation dimmed and finally extinguished. No one could receive the blessing of the devil realm. Meng Jiangnan sat on the alliance leader's throne. He was originally very pleased with himself, but when he saw the power of the demon world seeping into this place, he laughed maniacally in his heart. Soon, the demon world will descend upon the cultivation world. I will receive the blessing of the demon world and devour the cultivation world. Jiangli, this bastard, I will cut him into pieces sooner or later. With a howl, the head of the Pure Sun sect appeared in the main hall. What's going on? Alliance head, something went wrong with our formation. It can't connect to the immortal world anymore. Impossible. How can this be? Meng Jiangnan stood up, his eyes glowing. What did you say? Yes, we can't absorb the power of the immortal world either. The head of the militarist sect flew in as well. When our sects were practicing the formation, we prayed that there would be no reaction at all. Thereafter, grandmasters flew in one after another. Impossible, impossible. Meng Jiangnan started to connect to the demon world, but realized that it was empty. He couldn't connect no matter what. Shua, his face turned ashen white. What happened? Elephant King and Jun Sangxing felt that things weren't good. They knew that something bad had happened. Let me observe. Meng Jiangnan also felt that things weren't good. He jumped up and wanted to see what was going on. But suddenly, many screams spread out from the foot of the mountain. Something happened to the students of the Pure Sun sect. Something happened to the group of students who had prayed to form the formation to connect to the celestial world. Their faces turned red, and then green spears grew out of their bodies. They were like ghosts and gods. Apart from that, they also grew fangs. The demonic nature of their bodies flared up. Chapter 597. Roar. A student of the Pure Yang College, who was originally in the embryonic breathing realm, could completely control his Taoist heart, but now he had become a devil. He let out a shrill scream, then laughed hideously, as though he was a zombie that had been infected with a virus. He pounced on a comrade beside him, fiercely biting him. Then, he tore him apart and swallowed him. This was a completely irrational cannibalism. It was more demonic than the most ferocious devil. This demonic nature spread like a plague. In the blink of an eye, the students of the Pure Yang College had become hell on earth. Everyone had become a devil, attacking others indiscriminately. Director Chun Yang let out a long cry of grief and anger. He was prepared to stop this tragedy from happening, but his body also emitted a thick demonic nature, causing green hair to grow on his body. What is this? Why am I also infected with demonic nature? It's immortal chi. That immortal chi is not immortal chi at all, but demonic chi. The demonic chi disguised as immortal chi and was absorbed by us. We thought that our abilities had greatly increased, but in fact, we had unknowingly become a devil. We communicated with and prayed to not the immortal realm, but the devil realm. At this moment, Director Chun Yang finally knew the truth of the matter. The demonic nature contained many secrets when the demonic chi exploded. At this moment, the sect leaders present also acted up one by one. The demonic nature in their bodies exploded. However, they were saints and could barely suppress it, but they were all extremely weak. Meng Jiangnan, you beast, why did you do this? Didn't you say that you were the emissary of the immortal realm? Why have you become the emissary of the devil realm now? You lied to us. You said that you were absorbing immortal chi, but in fact, you were absorbing demonic chi. Director Chun Yang was filled with hatred. Also, Jun Sangxing, Elephant King, you guys lied to us too. Since we can't hide it until now, I wonder what happened to the devil realm altar? Meng Jiangnan wasn't affected by the devilish energy. Instead, he looked at the demonic nature of the sect leaders acting up and killing each other. He shot to his feet and said, "But it doesn't matter. It's good that there's a problem with the sacrificial altar of the devil world. Those devils are still holding me back, and without them, I have less to worry about. After all, I have the password to the devil world. When your devilish nature explodes, I'll sacrifice you to the devil world. That way, I'll get more." Meng Jiangnan flew over and grabbed one of the sect leaders. Energy surged into the other party's body, and he opened the password to the demon world. Instantly, the sect leader turned into a cloud of demonic smoke and was sucked into the depths of the dimension. A huge demonic will came down, causing Meng Jiangnan's body to creak as if he was reforming. A powerful aura seeped out, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. Piaoling's sect master, Din Xunyang, watched helplessly. Meng Jiangnan, you are the real devil. We were blind. That's right. You're all blind. Meng Jiangnan grinned hideously. You old fart. Can't you just trust anyone? Trust me? And now you're the second to die? He walked over step by step. At this time, the demonic nature of the various sects was acting up, and it was chaos. Wang, just as he was about to capture Din Shunyang and sacrifice him in one fell swoop to increase his strength once again, a purple stream of air appeared out of nowhere. Then, a large number of runes erupted from the sky-piercing peak. These runes descended onto the mountains, rivers, and earth. Those disciples who were tainted by the demonic nature all had their demonic nature dissipate, but those who died could not be resurrected. Then a purple current appeared in the hall, specifically for killing demons. The demonic nature of the sect leaders was suppressed, and 5 people appeared in the hall. Jiang Li, Dream Kite, and 3 immortals, Yuan Yin, Yuan Hua, and Yuan Meng. It's you, Jiang Li. Meng Jiang retreated. That's right, Meng Jiangnan. You joined forces with the demon world to lure all the sects in the cultivation world into becoming demons. Luckily, I saw through your plot long ago and joined forces with the real immortal world to destroy the altar of the demon race, cut off the channel of demonic energy, and destroyed the group of demons. Jiang Li looked at the surrounding sect leaders. Everyone, now do you know who is righteous and who is evil? Let me introduce you. These 3 are the real immortal world emissaries, disciples of the Origin Yuan sect, Yuan Yin, Yuan Hua, and Yuan Meng. Slay demons and protect the immortal world. Yuan Yin walked over. We are irreconcilable with the demon world. The demon world specializes in enticing living beings to fall into depravity, while the immortal world believes in self-improvement. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Any cultivation requires hard work. There's no such thing as overnight success. You're lying. You're also from the demon world. Meng Jiangnan was eager to escape. Don't believe me. They're the demons from beyond the heavens. Just now, we became demons because of them. They destroyed the altar of the immortal world, then replaced it with the demon world's altar, and tricked me. Meng Jiangnan, do you think I'll believe you? Just now, you captured sect leader Piaoling and offered him to the demon world. Do you think we're all blind? Of course, the sect leaders wouldn't believe him. If Meng Jiangnan hadn't revealed his ferocious side, they'd still be doubtful. But now, they'd be fools to believe him. Whoosh! Meng Jiangnan leaped up. However, Jiang Li waved his hand, and Meng Jiangnan fell from the sky, bound by an invisible rope. Meng Jiangnan, you're the former president of the human race. Last time, you were sentenced for the crime of exterminating the human race, but you escaped. You're still a wanted criminal, so we won't kill you this time. Instead, we'll bring you back for trial. At the same time, we'll warn the experts of the human race that no one can escape the punishment of the law. Of course, you can also make up for your mistake by telling them Jiangnail in secret. Perhaps they'll imprison you and cripple your cultivation. I'll plead for you to the judge, Jiang Li said. Jun, Sangxing, and Elephant King also wanted to escape, but Jiang Li pointed at them. Their acupoints seemed to have been sealed, and they couldn't move. Although they'd also cultivated the Great Tao, they weren't Jiang Li's opponents. You two aren't humans, and your demonic nature runs deep. You actually want to start a war. According to the laws of the human race, you'll have to accept our military court's judgment. Jiang Li. Everyone, you don't know the truth and have been bewitched. This time, we humans have completely taken control of Heaven's Peak. I hope you won't resist and join the Earth Federation to build the cultivation world together. How about it? Are you really from the world of immortals? Din Xunyang's spirit was completely gone. That's right. We're the emissaries of the world of immortals. We've come to the mortal world in search of opportunities. This world itself is inextricably linked to the world of immortals. It's our territory, so we naturally have to protect it from the invasion of the demon world. The 3 immortals said, Jiang Li is the orthodox of the world of immortals. You must listen to his orders. Jiang Li, I've inherited the will of the cultivation world, so I'm the righteous one. If you still refuse to come to your senses, then I'll have no choice but to judge you for destroying the world. At this time, the sky was filled with warships. They were all human warships. Moreover, the human warships were blessed by the cultivation world's will. Halos of heavens will appear on them. We'll join. Mercenary sect leader hurriedly nodded. He already knew how powerful they were. All right, Dreamkite, you'll take charge of things here. Unify the cultivation world and bring all the sect leaders to Planet Infinity for a meeting. We'll judge them according to human law. Jiang Li waved his hand. A passage opened. The three immortals posed a great threat. Many of the sect leaders present entered the passage and entered the depths of Planet Infinity. Then, it was time for a military trial. After a series of complicated human procedures, Elephant King and Jun Sangxing were sentenced to be sacrificed to the cultivation world's will. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Jiang Li personally presided over the ceremony. Elephant King and Jun Sangxing were sacrificed. They were born in the cultivation world, but colluded with the demon race to destroy world peace. They had to offer their lives to the cultivation world. Meng Jiangnan was also put on trial. His cultivation was destroyed, and he became a cripple. Then he was imprisoned forever and nailed to the pillar of shame in human history. All of this was carried out in an orderly manner. All the sect leaders saw Elephant King and Jun Sangxing being sacrificed. The two of them screamed, begged, and cried, but it was useless. In the end, their souls merged into the source of the cultivation world. Only now did the sect leaders feel how powerful the human race was, as well as the human race's orderly system and laws. They were filled with reverence and did not dare to go against the humans. I hereby announce that from now on, there will be no more wars in the cultivation world. We will spread the advanced system and ideology to all of you. From now on, there will be no more killing in the entire world. There will only be progress. Jiang Li announced to all the sect leaders. Honglong. The moment he made his declaration, the entire cultivation world fluctuated. A source of order seemed to be cheering in joy. Everyone saw that the entire world was unprecedentedly clear, like it was about to become heaven. Everyone knew that this was a good thing. If the world was in chaos, it would definitely look gray and hazy, and one's spirit would not be at ease. But now, it was bright and flawless, which meant that Jiang Li was righteous. At that moment, a revolutionary change happened in the cultivation world. Everyone, go back after the meeting. Reorganize the sects, and then we humans will slowly spread civilization and systems to change. This is a long process. Now, all the saints in the cultivation world, I can give you foreign human identities, and you can connect to the human network. Jiang Li waved his hand, and many cards appeared in their hands. The meeting went on for a long time. For 3 whole months, the sect leaders of these sects studied on Infinity Star, while Dream Paper Kite sent human scholars to spread human order and ideology. They also helped the humans in the cultivation world learn technology, develop their strength, stop fighting, and improve the law. After the meeting ended, the fate of the cultivation world increased greatly. Looking at the cultivation world from the depths of the universe, it was a giant ball. There was some mist and some impurities within, but the inside started to crystallize like flames were refining the impurities. This was a sign that the negative energy in the world was slowly disappearing and order was strengthening. It was a sign that the cohesiveness was changing. The situation of the cultivation world has been settled. Soon, it will become a real dimension. On a dead planet, 2 people stood. One of them was Jiang Nalan. He was unwilling. The demon race was actually destroyed by Jiang Li. Moreover, he has started to reorganize the internal order of the cultivation world. This is a great merit for the entire world. The moment the world advances, he will also receive a huge boost. From now on, no one will be his match. Don't worry, it isn't that easy to advance in the cultivation world. Beside Jiang Nalan stood a young man with bronze skin. He wasn't from the demon race or an angel, but he was very familiar with Jiang Nalan. His body exuded a powerful martial arts aura. He was actually someone from the martial world. Chapter 598. Jiang Nalan wasn't from the demon clan, nor was he from the angel clan. He was from the martial world. He'd even obtained the martial world password earlier than Meng Jiangnan. Meng Jiangnan's martial world magic had been taught by him. This mysterious person from the martial world was his ultimate helper. He could help him realize many of his dreams. Jiang Nalan, the cultivation world is a space that's going to become a real dimension. In other words, heavens will become as powerful as God. How can such an existence not attract the attention of many experts? The myriad realms will descend, and the great tribulation will appear. How can it escape? Also, the cultivation world and the immortal world are inextricably linked. This will make it a target for everyone. So we just need to wait and see. At the most critical moment, we'll take this world. The bronze-skinned young man from the martial world said, Senior Brother Wu Lu Sha, what role should we play in the great tribulation to take the myriad realms' celestial sphere? Jiang Nalan asked. This person from the martial world was called Wu Lu Sha. Wu Lu Sha thought for a moment. Among the myriad realms, the immortal world is still the strongest. Although our martial world is tyrannical, we have to admit that this world is the oldest and most complicated dimension. Whoever controls the immortal world controls the future. However, several supreme great emperors of the immortal world are missing. Now, there's no leader. The world is in chaos. If we can find the lost divine artifact of the immortal world, the jade plate of good fortune will have the upper hand. Where's the jade plate of good fortune? Jiang Nalan asked. It's very likely that it's been divided into two parts and hidden in two places in the third dimension. One is the brain of the universe's star zone, and the other is the immortal tower star zone. However, these two star zones are huge, with many mazes and many experts. Even the experts of the immortal world and the gods don't dare to provoke them. The masters of the brain of the universe's star zone and the immortal tower's star zone are existences that surpass the gods and can touch true chaos. They can completely ignore the laws of the third dimension. What you need to do now is very simple. I will help you choose one of them and enter the star zone. Then, become a disciple of these two existences and gradually climb up. With your talent, you can definitely advance by leaps and bounds and obtain the secrets of the jade plate of good fortune. Wu Lusha said, Universe's brain star territory, immortal tower star territory? Jiang Nalan said, What exactly is this place? There's no need to ask anymore. These two places can be said to be the places closest to the primal chaos. Wu Lusha said, The mysteries are endless. The reason why your previous plan failed was because the human's martial ancestor Ba Liming transmitted his will from the immortal tower and defeated those experts. As for Wang Chao, it is very likely that he has entered the universe's brain star domain. Very well, then I will also enter. My life's wish is to fight with Wang Chao and see who is the number one human, Jiang Nalan said unwillingly. With Jiang Li's current cultivation, you are no match for him. Wu Lusha said, However, we shouldn't go to the brain of the universe star field right now because the myriad realms celestial sphere has awakened. People from those two star fields will definitely come and negotiate with the myriad realms emissary. We have to stabilize the situation in the third dimension universe. Otherwise, the war will expand here and the myriad worlds will be destroyed. Are we still going to wait here? Jiang Nalan frowned. Maybe Meng Jiang will betray me, and Jiang Li will come to kill me. He will find me. Right now, we can't go to the universe's brain star field. It is an extremely large force, and everyone there is tyrannical and boundless. They can contend with the myriad worlds, Wu Lusha said. Our martial world also doesn't want to easily provoke these two forces. So, we have to follow the proper procedures and let them accept disciples. I see. Jiang Nalan was secretly shocked. It seemed that in the myriad world star field, there were too many powerful forces. Let's wait. Before long, the power of the myriad realms celestial sphere will grow stronger. At that time, more passages will open in the martial world, and people from the martial world will appear. You still have to improve your strength. The martial world is a place where strength speaks. Although you have joined my sect, you still can't slack off. You are a good seedling. When the time comes, I will work with you to seize the primal chaos palea energy of the angels. The angels are strong, but compared to the martial world, they are nothing. Wu Lusha smiled. Elder brother, how does your cultivation base compare to Jiang Li's? Can you kill him? Jiang Nailin suddenly had a thought. He is extremely strong. He created his own great Tao and cut his way through the primal chaos. But his level is too low. In a one-on-one fight, he doesn't need to use his godhood. With the power of virtual godhood, I can kill him. Wu Lusha said proudly. When will I show you my fist technique? The people from the martial world are different from those from any other world. Even as they spoke, the two of them vanished into thin air. Cultivation world, human base, planet infinity. The leaders of the human government, the leaders of corporations, the military, and the financial sector were all in a meeting. This time, it was a major decision-making event. The financial, military, and political direction of the world would be decided by this conference. Jiang Li and Dreamkite were the hosts of the meeting, while Yuan Yin, Yuan Hua, and Yuan Meng listened from the sidelines. Ladies and gentlemen, let me briefly explain the current situation in the cultivation world. Meng Paper Kite was the president, and she began to speak. Right now, many of the sects in the cultivation world have already accepted the spread of our civilization. Our current thinking is not to conquer them, not to plunder them, but to be the world's police. We can't let them fight, but rather let them develop peacefully. We will give them advanced ideas, but if the best of them want to join us to learn, that's fine, but they have to go through tests. Just like that, we will continuously absorb the best of the big sects, expand the power of humanity, and finally reach the point where we can change the entire cultivation world. We have already suppressed the situation in the cultivation world, a leader of the military said. His name was Michael Wenli, and he was in existence close to becoming a saint. Our army has helped resolve thousands of wars between the sects over the past few days. Now that the entire cultivation world knows that we are the world's police, no one dares to act rashly. Moreover, we have begun to set up a Skynet system to monitor any changes in the entire cultivation world. The Academy of Science. Jiang Li said, setting up the Skynet is the responsibility of the Academy of Science. It's like this. The head of the Academy of Science was actually Jiang Zhendong, Jiang Li's father. He was now the most famous scientist of the human race and presided over the highest Academy of Science. Now that we have obtained the technology of the demon race, it is dark technology. It will take some time for us to digest it, but we have developed a virtual starry sky. In the sky of the cultivation world, we can condense a starry sky. This way, we can monitor everything in the cultivation world, big or small. Apart from that, I also suggest that we build air corridors and teleportation arrays so that there is no distance between cities and sects. I object. At this time, an elder of the financial world spoke up. This kind of construction will consume too much money unless the sects provide the funds and materials. We humans need to maintain our operations and development. We are not the saviors of the world. The planning department will come up with detailed data for these things, and then we will hold a special meeting to study it. This is a matter of economic development. Development in the cultivation world has become a small matter. Our main focus now is on how to take back Earth, Dreamkite said. Taking back Earth is a must. Some elders agreed. But Earth is actually the myriad realm's sphere. If we occupy it, we will immediately become the target of public criticism. It is not a good thing to take it back, because we have no ability to protect our home at all. We can only give it up. We suggest that we set up a stronghold and give birth to babies. Only babies born on Earth are pure humans. Now, everyone knew that the souls of babies born on Earth would be refined by the myriad world's celestial sphere the moment they were formed, which meant that they had a special characteristic. For the time being, we can only set up a stronghold and give birth to as many babies as possible. This is where the bloodline of humans lies, so we must not be careless. Zhongli also knew that it was impossible for humans to control the myriad realm sphere, so he could only come up with this plan. However, the construction of the cultivation world has to be sped up. You probably don't know the most important point, which is that we have integrated the order of the cultivation world. The entire world itself is growing, and it will soon be promoted to a real dimension that no longer exists in the third dimension universe. When that time comes, because we humans have contributed greatly to the promotion of the dimension, we will all be promoted. Among us humans, everyone will benefit greatly. This is the most important thing. If my calculations are correct, the moment the dimension is promoted, the overall quality of humans will increase tenfold. Humans were still weak now, so it would probably take a long time for them to promote as a whole. However, the promotion of the cultivation world could indeed benefit everyone. This was especially so for Zhongli himself. He did not know to what extent his strength would increase. Everyone, there is one more thing. I know that many humans are currently stuck at a bottleneck and are unable to promote to the Saint Realm. However, with the promotion of the world, it will be very easy for all of you to break through the bottleneck. However, the promotion of the cultivation world now requires a lot of things. The most important thing we have to do next is to quickly transform the cultivation world. Zhongli already had a plan in mind. What does the promotion of the entire world need? Zhang Zhendong was in charge of the Academy of Sciences. He led a large group of scientists and was very interested in this research topic. I have to discuss the specifics with Heaven's Will again. I might even ask him for more benefits for us humans. Zhongli, the main purpose of today's meeting is to determine the general direction of our human race. We humans should go from radical to stable, work hard to develop, and do everything possible to strengthen our strength. As for the great calamity in the future, don't think that it is already safe. The real calamity has yet to come. Chapter 599. After the meeting, Zhongli flew up. He flew to the depths of the heavens will space to meet the youth and discuss a series of matters. Others could not enter the heavens will space. Even if they wanted to, they had to go to the heavens bridge peak and pass through layers of tribulations to see the true face of heaven's will. But he did not need to. With a flash, he passed through the void barrier and arrived at the depths of the heavens will space. The interior of the heavens will space had already begun to change. It was as bright as water and as silver as frost. The youth was lazily lying on an altar, fast asleep, as if he did not notice Zhongli's arrival. I have already integrated the cultivation world's order and gradually spread human civilization to the entire world. Now that the world is in order, technology will also develop. Zhongli knew that the youth was actually cultivating. Very good. Looks like my judgment was right. The youth was still sleeping, but he sent out a mental wave. With you here, I can save all my energy and cultivate by myself. Otherwise, I would have to split 80% of my energy to manage the entire world every day. It would be impossible for me to improve by leaps and bounds. What Heavens will have to do every day was to manage the growth of the entire world and defend against foreign invasions. At the same time, it was to prevent the living beings from falling and killing each other. In the end, the world would fall into chaos and decay. This way, it would expend a lot of energy and would not be able to level up. Now that it had Zhongli and the humans to help it develop the world, fend off foreign invasions, supervise the world, and even adjust its fate, it could really cultivate in peace and absorb the world vitality to expand. Zhongli also understood this principle. However, he also knew that it would be very difficult for the entire world to level up with just the youth's cultivation. I plan to mobilize the entire human race to prepare for the world advancement. Among them, the best way to make the world's heavens will grow rapidly is through sacrifice. Now that the myriad worlds have descended, our human experts have gone out to hunt down all sorts of experts and then set up altars to sacrifice to you. Only then will your strength truly grow rapidly. Zhongli said, "Indeed, sacrifice is the only way for every world to level up," the youth said. Young man Tianyi said, "Moreover, You seem to be able to mobilize the sects in the cultivation world to kill experts above the myriad world celestial sphere and offer them to me. Of course, the myriad world's celestial orb appeared to provide us with many sacrificial offerings. However, I still have to discuss with you about the offerings. Zhongli had come here mainly to discuss this matter. Although there was a law of equivalent exchange of energy in the universe, every world was more or less different. Some were generous, some were stingy, and some did not even give anything in return. This seemed to be business. Both sides of the transaction had to set down rules. Actually, if they wanted the cultivation world's heavenly will to ascend quickly, the best way for the entire human race to do so was to not receive any gifts but to directly offer sacrifices. However, this would greatly affect the enthusiasm of the human race. If they could not obtain any benefits, who would offer sacrifices? Immediately, Jiang Li and the Youth of Heavens will discuss for a while and calculated the feedback of the sacrifice together. For example, how many living beings were killed, how many souls were sacrificed, how many blessings were obtained. All of these things had gone through the most precise calculations, and there were absolutely no loopholes. After discussing for a long time, Tianyi woke up and stood up. He waved his hand and immediately displayed the situation of the solar system. The solar system had also become a membrane embryo. It was filled with a dense atmosphere, and living beings constantly poured out, even beginning to expand outside the solar system. Many unknown races appeared, and the souls of these races were diverse, making them the best species for sacrifice. The power of the myriad world's celestial sphere is about to be activated, Tianyi said. Tianyi said, this will also bring in enough resources. If you humans go all out, and the people of the cultivation world also go hunting and sacrificing, the entire world will be able to accumulate enough power to level up in about a year or two. However, my leveling up is too shocking. It's equivalent to directly becoming a god in the third dimension, and an existence even more powerful than ordinary gods. It will definitely attract the attention of countless ancient powers, because if they refine me into a magic treasure while I'm ascending, that will be a tribulation, an even greater tribulation. I also know this. When you ascend, there will definitely be a tribulation, and it will be a tribulation thousands of times more dangerous than the one we humans faced. We must prepare as well. The fate of the human race is now linked to yours, and we can only deal with it together. From now on, I won't offer sacrifices to the immortal world, Zhongli said. Instead, I will do my best to kill experts and offer them to you. Very good. You are very strong, especially after obtaining demon technology. The photon computer of Infinite has been upgraded once more, and in time, the broodmother will become even stronger. If you offer sacrifices, I won't be able to give you anything. I can only remember this debt. When I ascend, I will become a god, and you will rule over the world. When Zhongli heard this, he understood Tianyi's difficulties. Indeed, he was too strong. If he offered sacrifices to the immortal world, it could replenish him. After all, he was still very insignificant compared to the immortal world, but the young man really couldn't give him anything in the cultivation world. After all, Jiang Li's psychic power had already reached 9,000 dimensional units, which was equivalent to an expert with 9 grand daos. In particular, his 4 great nomological laws had already stabilized. The next step was to construct new nomological laws to supplement the depths of the array and perfect the infinite great Tao once again. That's fine. Anyway, the moment I advance, I'll definitely get a lot of things. I'm just making an investment. Zhongli nodded. Then it's a deal. Wait, I'll teach you a part of the deepest mysteries of the heavens will of the cultivation world. It's the same as sharing the secrets of the entire world with you. From now on, if anything happens to me, you can replace me and become the heaven's will of the entire world. As young man Tianyi spoke, he waved his hand. Zhongli could see all the changes in the cultivation world converging into his mind. A massive amount of information covered his soul flame. Instantly, he felt like his head was about to explode. However, He knew that this was the highest operating method of the entire cultivation world. The amount of information was enormous, including the growth of all living things, the derivation of vital energy, the manipulation of time and space, the birth and death of souls, the mark of the void, the arrangement of the crystal wall. These things were the true structure of a dimension, and this was the true information. From now on, sacrificing me is equivalent to sacrificing yourself. You are the cultivation world, and I am also the cultivation world. Young man Tianyi said, perhaps you still can't understand the operation of the entire world and the changes in the entire dimension. But as your cultivation improves, you'll slowly understand everything. Zhongli couldn't spare any attention. He couldn't reply to young man Tianyi. The massive amount of information caused his soul flame to flicker, as though it was about to be extinguished. Although this was knowledge, too much knowledge could easily kill a person's soul. Fortunately, Zhongli had the Grand Emperor's relic to help him slowly comprehend the information. This knowledge was also very important to him. In the future, he would be able to comprehend this knowledge and comprehend more moves of the infinite divine fist. He had already comprehended the 14th move of the infinite divine fist, infinite heaven yuan. As he continued to comprehend the infinite divine fist, he would be able to comprehend even more laws. The move infinite heaven yuan contained the true meaning of heaven yuan. Heaven yuan meant to strike the center. Zhongli suddenly had an idea. Heaven yuan is a great Tao. Perhaps I can evolve the center into a law. Yes, the central law. The center of the universe, the center of the myriad worlds, the center of the people, and the center of all living beings. The Emperor and heavens are a form of concentration. As Zhongli was comprehending, the fifth law flashed in his mind. That was the center. Among his four laws, truth, fate, emotion, and fate. They formed the foundation of the world, but they lacked a fulcrum. That was the center. Therefore, he needed to condense the central law. The central law was very mysterious. It was the foundation of the Emperor, the king of all living beings. Once this law was mastered, the structure of the world would be truly stable, just like the legendary 5 elements of earth, fire, water, wind, and space. The infinite great Tao had a hint of perfection. Roughly a month passed. Zhongli stayed in the heavenly will space for a month, constantly comprehending the mysterious changes of the world. Suddenly, his body trembled as he felt a large amount of energy pouring into his body. It was an extremely wondrous feeling. He hurriedly opened his eyes and deactivated his psychic realm. He saw many humans, cultivators, and sect leaders on Earth and in the solar system. They were all hunting monsters and then sacrificing them. Every time he made a sacrifice, he would feel a warm and comfortable feeling. What? Why do I feel a part of the power of the sacrifices when humans start hunting? Zhongli found it strange. He felt that he had separated himself from the masses. He was high and mighty, like a god. In human society, even the high and mighty leaders would not feel this way. Is it strange? Because I've already taught you about 1% of the true meaning of the cultivation world, heavens will said. The youth of heavens will ask, so you can also sense the power of sacrifice now. Has your worldview and vision changed? Yes. Indeed, this worldview is very helpful to my cultivation. My vision has been broadened. Zhongli carefully savored the feeling of the heaven's will. Being sacrificed was too special. All right, I'll start a crazy sacrifice to kill those monsters. I want to see what it feels like to sacrifice myself. Most importantly, the world will level up. Zhongli now knew that when the world leveled up, he would also level up. As for how much he would level up, it was hard for him to imagine. He soared into the sky. Chapter 600. The human plan had been activated. Regardless of whether it was within the human race or other sects, they had all organized teams to go to Earth to hunt monsters as sacrifices. Although the sacrifice of a few people was nothing, once the number of people accumulated, the number and strength would be considerable, especially now that the number of humans had increased to 2 trillion, and there were about 100 trillion humans from the various sects in the cultivation world. Experts were everywhere, and they all swarmed to Earth and the solar system to hunt monsters. Everyone helped each other and worked in an orderly manner. This way, they could cooperate with each other and unleash several times the destructive power. When Zhongli saw that all the experts of humanity were moving, he naturally didn't want to be left out. The overall situation of humanity had stabilized. In fact, he could leave peacefully like Wang Chao, but he still had to wait for the cultivation world to advance. Only then would there be true peace. With one step, he left the cultivation world. With another step, he was in the solar system. He didn't go through the passageway, but directly crossed space. This meant that his cultivation had reached an unbelievable level. Saints couldn't fly that far. Tao experts were stronger than saints and could travel in the depths of the vast space, but it still took some time for their bodies to cross. However, Jiang Li's current cultivation far surpassed that of an ordinary great Tao realm powerhouse. His spiritual power was equivalent to that of a powerhouse with 9 great Tao realms. At this moment, his physical body was already meaningless. It was all about the energy matrix and spiritual power crossing over. After arriving at a different place, he would reassemble his physical body. There were monsters everywhere in the solar system, especially with Earth as the center. Zhongli landed on Earth and found that human teams were continuously coming out of the passageway. Some of them were very elite and well-trained. With a whoosh, they surrounded the monsters and subdued them. Then they began to sacrifice. After the sacrifice, as expected, the cultivation world's feedback runes poured down from above their heads, increasing their mental energy and divine abilities. Even their vitality was rising. Awesome! Zhongli landed in the 36 flourishing cities and saw that the golden dragon nests were now riddled with holes, and there were many monsters living in them. A team of 5 searched through them and suddenly discovered a golden sky dragon. They hurriedly set up a large formation to trap it. This golden sky dragon's strength was roughly at the 3rd level of the meditative mind realm. There were many runes condensed in its body, making it extremely powerful. However, the group of 5 was even stronger. The leader was a young man wearing a dark golden armor. There were densely packed patterns on it, and with just a slight movement, he seemed like the king of ghosts and gods, capable of tearing apart ancient times. This is the highest armor we humans have researched, heavenly Tao battle armor. After wearing it, you can rival saints. It's very difficult to forge. Zhongli saw that this young man was a talent. He wasn't a saint, but he had many runes in his body. He was only one step away from saint. The current armors of the human race had greatly improved compared to the past. This was especially so after they had obtained 100% control over the AI of the Lord's ship. The toughness, lethality, and defense of the armors of each level had all undergone earth-shaking changes. Back then, human battle armor was divided into low tier, mid tier, high tier, super tier, and holy tier. Now, under the research of the Science Academy, there was a new level of battle armor, which was Heavenly Tao battle armor. Moreover, the Science Academy that Jiang Zhendong presided over was still researching stronger battle armor, which was the Eternal battle armor. However, this research had not succeeded yet. If the research was successful, then ordinary people wearing this battle armor would be able to contend against great Tao-level powerhouses. With a dragon's roar, the golden sky dragon was suppressed by the team of 5 and then sacrificed. The team leader in the heavenly Tao-level warship took a deep breath and said, "The power of the cultivation world is still too weak. Sacrificing the heavenly Tao-level warship gave us very little. Leader, our immortal team has been a strong team for a long time. Don't you secretly have the martial world's password? Why don't you sacrifice it to the martial world?" A team member said. So, these people are the members of Starry Sky University's immortal team. Indeed, they were elites a long time ago. I can't believe they're so strong now, Zhongli secretly observed. When he was a freshman in Starry Sky University, the immortal team was the top team, almost as famous as Marshal Goliath. But now, These people were overshadowed by Jiang Li's halo. This leader is called Saint Fong. I remember him, but how did he know the martial world's password? Jiang Li quietly stopped and watched what the immortal team was going to do next. It should be noted that Meng Jiangnan's martial world password was taught by Jiang Nalan. Then, could this leader, or the immortal team, be related to Jiang Nalan? Or could he be a chess piece set up by Jiang Nalan to subvert humanity? He had to be careful. Moreover, rumor had it that the immortal team was named after this group of people because they admired Jiang Nalan. No, sacrificing the world of cultivation to help the whole world ascend is a major event for us humans. I don't hesitate on this point. My martial world password was given to me by Jiang Nalan, but Jiang Nalan is crazy and has no order at all. Even if you cooperate with him, he will lose his credibility and devour you at any time. Look at how Meng Jiangnan was fooled by him. Saint Fong sneered. On the other hand, Jiang Li is quite magnanimous. He won't harm anyone and does everything according to the law. But one day I want to challenge him. Our immortal team has always been the top team. The members were all experts, and they also had military ranks. They were the marshals of the army. These people were already the cream of the crop. Challenge me. When Jiang Li heard these words, he smiled. Not bad, not bad. Humans need people like this. Only then will they have a promising future. They abide by order, but they have an independent personality. They dare to challenge authority, but they also look at the big picture and care about the entire race. I like people like this. These people are the future of humanity. He was not unhappy at all. On the contrary, he was very happy. However, I still need to be wary of Jiang Nalan. He will always be a scourge if he doesn't die. He will rope in the higher-ups of humanity and corrupt us from the inside. I can't guard against them all. After all, I can't interfere with other people's privacy. Jiang Li knew that the most important thing now was to find and kill Jiang Nalan. Otherwise, he would be a huge hidden danger. He left the members of the immortal team and came to the center of the Golden Dragon Lair. It was where the Huaxia Imperial Palace used to be. This was the passage to the Dragon World. Ever since Long Zitian was killed last time, the Dragon World army had retreated in panic. Since then, there hadn't been any large-scale invasion of the Dragon World's passageway. However, there would occasionally be some scattered dragon rays coming over. However, these dragon rays couldn't do anything and were directly hunted down by the humans. But Jiang Li knew that the dragon race wouldn't give up. They would make a comeback. However, he didn't want to attack the Dragon World. He just came here to take a look. The dragon race weren't evil creatures. The first ones he wanted to kill were the Nether race and the Demon race. The Dragon World's heavens was indeed cold and noble. Arriving in front of the Dragon World's passage, Jiang Li sent a strand of spiritual energy into it. He carefully sensed the existence of the heaven's will and found that he understood many things. At this moment, he saw things differently. After observing the passage to the Dragon World, he left and came to another passage on Earth. This was the place where the Nether race appeared last time. In the depths of the passage, there was an aura of darkness, decay, death, and ruin. The heavens was ancient and had a huge amount of resentment. It was pure evil and chaotic. It had the tendency to destroy everything, the world, and even oneself. The passage to the Netherworld is here. Where's the passage to the Demon World? It doesn't seem to be open yet. Jiang Li searched with his divine will. He didn't start hunting. Although there were many monster experts in the entire solar system, none of them were worthy of him attacking. If he wanted to attack, he would need at least 3, 5, 6, or even stronger great Daos. The rest would be left for the younger generation to handle. Why haven't the experts of the Netherworld appeared? Jiang Li was puzzled. He sent his divine will in like fishing, luring out the demons. The Nether race was powerful, evil, and chaotic. They weren't as cunning as the demon race, so it was easy to lure them out. As soon as his divine will seeped into it, he instantly felt the vastness of the Netherworld. It was a plain that stretched as far as the eye could see, even vaster than the starry sky. There were decaying swamps and quagmires everywhere, as well as a world filled with poisonous gas. Normal creatures wouldn't be able to survive for even a second in there. However, The nether race and the netherworld creatures were like fish in water. They loved rotting, poisonous gas, killing, and resentment. In an instant, Zhongli felt several tyrannical netherworld wills madly pouncing towards him, as if they were flies that had seen blood. His soul fire was too obvious, and to the netherworld creatures, it was the best delicacy. However, he didn't fight in the depths of the netherworld. Instead, he taunted, "Demons of the netherworld, I am an expert from the immortal world. If you have what it takes, come out. Come out. Roar, roar, roar." Sure enough, angry divine will rippled out from the depths of the netherworld. Zhongli retracted his divine will and waited at the entrance to the passage. As soon as he retracted his divine will, a roar came from within. Crackle. Space shattered and turned into poisonous gas. Within the gray gas, a dark golden demonic claw reached out. This claw was as large as a mountain, and there were nether race characters on it. They were twisted resentment. Rumble. Zhongli reached out and grabbed the devilish claw. Then he yanked the infernal out of the netherworld, pulling it out of the netherworld. The infernal was shocked and had no idea what was going on. An expert with 3 great Daos had been pulled out. Zhongli clenched his hand into a fist, and cracking sounds could be heard as the infernal collapsed, transforming into a green smoke that vanished without a trace. Zhongli suddenly felt an indescribable power inside of him, a power that was completely different from the nether races. It was the power of sacrifice. He was sacrificing himself. After the sacrifice, he carefully considered what it meant to be sacrificed, what it meant to be repaid, and what it meant to be exchanged for power. For a moment, he was lost in thought. It was at this point that a shadowy figure suddenly appeared in the netherworld. In the blink of an eye, it was right next to Zhongli. Zhongli's eyes flickered. He could tell that this shadowy figure was very strong. Just as he was about to attack, a fist appeared behind him. This fist disintegrated the shadow that had appeared from the underworld with an unstoppable force. Then, the fist turned into a claw and grabbed the shadow's body out of the underworld. It was a nether with 4 great Daos. The nether had the aura of a king, but before he could even scream, he was reduced to ash. Martial world will of heaven, sacrifice. The owner of the fist appeared. It was a bronze-skinned man with an imposing figure. After he sacrificed himself, he took a deep breath and grinned at Zhongli. "My name is Wu Lu Sha, someone from the martial world." Chapter 601. Wu Lu Sha. Zhongli was shocked, and his body had already drifted away. This was instinctive, because he felt that there was a tyrannical aura in this person's body. In the unseen world, it could make ghosts and gods bow their heads, and immortals bow their heads. This was the aura of the martial world. In fact, the martial world combat power could be said to be number 1 in all the realms. But why was the martial world itself inferior to the immortal realm? That was because of a series of reasons. Strength never depended on martial power. However, everyone knew that the people of the martial world were terrifying. "Zhongli, I know you." Wu Lu Sha stood in front of the passage to the underworld. The roiling underworld aura rushed out and eroded his body, but he was completely unaware of it. His body was the indestructible golden body. He alone blocked all the underworld aura, and he could even block the passage to the underworld by himself. "Zhang Nailin told me about you," Wu Lu Sha said. Wu Lu Sha said, "From the looks of it, I still underestimated you. You actually shared the entire world with the cultivation world's heaven's will. The sacrifice you're making now is a sacrifice to yourself. Putting aside your cultivation, your worldview has already undergone a fundamental change. Respected existence of the martial world. Could it be that you have also listened to Zhang Nailin's bewitchment and become enemies with the humans of Earth?" Zhongli calmed his mind. He was a little fearful, but he still maintained sufficient poise and etiquette. No. The martial world does not become enemies with anyone," Wu Lu Sha said. "We do not like to conquer, we only like to challenge. But don't worry, I will not fight you now, because your value has not reached its peak. When the entire cultivation world begins to advance, that will be the time when you are at your most glorious, and also when you reach the peak of your life. Only then will I make a move, and only killing you will be of value. The martial world is not an evil universe. Why do you want to kill me and destroy humanity? The purpose of the martial world is to pursue martial arts and maintain neutrality. You better not be tempted by Jiang Nailin and enter the demonic path. He has the aura of the demon race on him, and his madness is even more demonic than the demons. Jiang Li was still trying to persuade Wu Lu Sha, based on the principle of having another friend. You really pay more attention to order than Jiang Nailin, but Jiang Nailin is not someone from the demon realm. Wu Lu Sha smiled faintly. He is a seed of our orthodox martial world. A long time ago, he obtained a martial arts talisman. Now, he can ascend to the martial world at any time. I hope that we humans can maintain a friendly relationship with the martial world. Jiang Li was speaking from the bottom of his heart. The Wu Lu Sha in front of him was not from the devil race, nor was he from the underworld race. He did not have the heart to kill innocents or view human lives as worthless. Otherwise, with his means, he could definitely cause a massacre in the solar system. I didn't say that I don't want to be friends with humans. I only said that you have the intelligence and strength to fight with me. So, I want to kill you in battle. I have no interest in other humans. Wu Lu Sha said, "Let them fend for themselves. If I had any enmity towards you humans, I would have killed all of you with so many humans here." "Thank you," Jiang Li said. "Since you want to fight me, then come. It's better to fight early than late." "Forget it now. The current you has no value in fighting," Wu Lu Sha said. "I also want to hone my martial arts. This is a very good battlefield, and experts are about to appear. You don't want to fight me, but I want to fight you." Jiang Li's body suddenly grew taller. "I, Jiang Li, am actually not afraid of the martial world. I just feel that the fate of humans is full of difficulties. We need to maintain stability. But you are colluding with Jiang Nailin, and it is very dangerous. I solemnly propose to negotiate with you now. Hand over Jiang Nailin. Hand him over to us to judge." "Oh," Wu Lu Sha was surprised. "You are very bold. You even dare to resist the martial world. Our martial world can only use our iron fist to deal with those who resist. Jiang Nailin is my junior brother and also the hope that our martial world has nurtured. How can we hand him over to you? In that case, we can only fight." Jiang Li suddenly attacked. He pointed out with a finger. It crawled slowly, but it locked onto Wu Lu Sha. He attacked with the strongest move of the infinite divine fist, infinite sky origin. He knew that with Wu Liu Sha's cultivation, using other moves would be futile. Only by using his strongest martial arts could he force Wu Lu Sha into a desperate situation. Good martial arts. Seeing Jiang Li's attack, Wu Liu Sha's eyes lit up, bursting forth with a blinding light. He didn't even bother to look at Jiang Li. He simply punched out with his fist. Slow, heavy, and powerful. Everything seemed to slow down under his fist, including time. Fist intent and fist technique all in one. Break through the heart barrier, and you can see the prosperity of the world and the vicissitudes of life. Wu Liusha's fist was first prosperous, then leaves fell, autumn wind rustled, and everything was vicissitudes. It was sad. It was like an old man in his twilight years reminiscing about his life. How many emperors, how many immortals, how many deities in the end? They were all just a pile of dirt. The sad fist surged up from his heart. Bang! The fist and finger collided. Jiang Li retreated repeatedly, but Wu Lu Sha didn't move at all. However, he didn't fight with Jiang Li. Instead, he twisted and his body slowly retreated into the void. Jiang Li, the current you is still too weak. You should wait until your cultivation base improves, and at the final moment of transformation, then you can fight with me. As expected, he's strong. Jiang Li stabilized his body. He already knew Wu Liusha's strength. He had never seen it before. That fist technique directly struck the heart, bypassing all innate techniques and transformations, as well as illusions, breaking through all obstacles. This was Ba Liming's fist technique, the fist technique of the martial ancestor. Martial arts were just this simple, naked, tyrannical, direct, and aimed at the heart. In the distance, on a desolate planet in the starry sky, Wu Lusha stepped into it. Jiang Nalin came up to him. "Senior brother, you fought with Jiangli earlier. Why didn't you kill him?" "I couldn't kill him," Wu Lusha said. "He's getting stronger." All of a sudden, cracks spread out over Wu Liusha's body, apparently caused by Jiang Li's attack. However, a moment later, raging flames erupted out of him, healing his wounds and restoring his strength. "He's improving faster than I could have imagined. It seems I'll have to change my plans. Why don't I go hunt down the humans from Earth and put them under my control?" Jiang Nalin said, sounding very cruel. "With Jiang Li keeping tabs on everything, it'll be hard for you to make any progress. Besides, people in the martial world shouldn't resort to such trickery. We should just go straight to the point, kill the strongest experts, and then leave. It's hard to cultivate a spirit of the martial path that can destroy everything." "I'm fine with that. I'm fine with anything," Jiang Nalin said. "I just want to make the best use of everything." "All right, elder brother, you have to help me out. I've already scouted out more primal chaos paleo energy from the angel folk. We'll split it evenly." "If that's the case, then go." Wu Lusha was very interested in the primal chaos paleo energy. After all, it could be sacrificed to increase his power. In the blink of an eye, the two of them vanished. Bam! Jiang Li grabbed another infernal folk and sacrificed it. It was an expert of the great Tao, and Jiang Li had been suppressing the infernal folk's passageway, fishing them out one by one. Saints were very powerful existences in the infinite worlds, and experts of the great Tao were even rarer. But the myriad world celestial orb had drawn them over, and it was a perfect opportunity. If the myriad world's celestial orb hadn't awakened, then Jiang Li would have spent decades wandering the starry sky without encountering a single saint, much less a great Tao expert. After sacrificing 5 or 6 underworld race experts in a row, Jiang Li's cultivation didn't increase much. This was because sacrificing himself, sacrificing the cultivation world's heavens, was equivalent to making an investment. It couldn't have the same immediate effect as sacrificing the immortal world's heavens will. But he didn't care. Gradually, the experts of the infernal folk stopped coming out. No matter how much Jiang Li tried to lure them out, they turned a deaf ear to him. No more invincible figures like Mo Yixiong or Blood Devil Xue Jing appeared. They were powerful, but the pressure of the third dimension was too great, so they didn't want to come out for now. Once the will of the myriad world celestial orb was strengthened, it could spread out and greatly reduce the pressure of the third dimension. It looks like the infernal folk won't be able to lure out any more experts. Jiang Li waited for a long time, but no infernal folk came out. He couldn't help but laugh. Oh. At this moment, cheers rang out on Earth. Jiang Li saw that in the depths of the ocean, there was a crack. Many experts of the human race were surrounding and killing a saint. That's right, it was a saint. Because of the advancement of technology, all experts of the human race wore heavenly Tao armor. Divine armor and martial armor had long been common, so the human race's combat strength had greatly increased. This time, there were no human saints among those who surrounded the foreign race saint, but a group of human meditative level experts. They were all clad in armor. The immortal team was among them. Their leader, Feng Sheng, was the fiercest. He fought alone and suppressed the saint's body. In the end, many people shot out resplendent light, forming an immortal formation that restrained the saint and began the sacrifice. With a ray of light, the saint of the mutated race was reduced to ashes. Everyone received the blessing of the cultivation world's heaven's will. Humans had become so powerful that with the help of armor and technology, a group of meditational experts could actually kill saints. Jiang Li was gratified to see this. If this continued, humans would produce more saints. As expected, the surroundings of the myriad world's celestial orb were the best battlefield. I hope this can continue. If the myriad world's celestial orb doesn't strengthen, those experts won't appear. Only ordinary saints and great Tao experts will appear, and we humans will continue to hunt them down, Jiang Li prayed. But just as he was praying, the entire myriad world's celestial orb suddenly shook. An invisible force spread out, and the myriad world's celestial orb changed again. Chapter 602. After the myriad realm, celestial sphere underwent a new change. Zhongli felt that the rules of the three-dimensional universe were gradually dissipating. Previously, experts with 3 or more great paths would be restricted here. Now, however, he felt much more relaxed. Not only could experts from the entire solar system come here, but even the entire Milky Way galaxy could come here. He felt that at least 6 great Daos, or even stronger experts, would not be restricted now. He released his mind and saw that the myriad world's celestial sphere, which was the ancient Earth, released a majestic aura that covered the entire Milky Way. In the Milky Way, experts could do whatever they wanted and do whatever they wanted. Of course, outside the Milky Way, experts would still be suppressed by the three-dimensional universe. But as the myriad world's celestial sphere grew stronger, this unrestricted area would continue to expand. All human experts quickly returned to the cultivation world. The myriad world's celestial sphere has changed again. Experts are about to descend. At this time, an alarm sounded on Jiang Li's optical computer chip. It was from the human government. Clearly, in the cultivation world, Dreamkite also knew about the current situation. She and the government team sent the alarm. Then, in the ancient ruins of Xinghua City, the passage expanded to welcome the return of human experts. Of course, Zhongli would not go back. The change of the myriad world's celestial sphere was a good thing for him. More experts would descend, and he could train and then hunt and sacrifice them. If he could hunt more experts like Mo Yixiong, hundreds of them in a row, the cultivation world's heavens would improve greatly. One had to know that ordinary saints contained enormous energy. Great Daos saints could refine planets. If an expert with 5 great Daos like Mo Yixiong was sacrificed, the cultivation world would expand by at least 1/5. One had to know that the cultivation world could not produce experts with 5 great Daos. Under his will, human experts retreated one after another. However, some experts hid in the dark, as if they wanted to see what kind of changes would happen to the ancient Earth. As expected, the power of the myriad world's celestial sphere changed again. It interfered with the rules of the entire Milky Way. Even the planets were changing. The Milky Way was no longer the original Milky Way. Rumble. First, another passage was opened. This passage was brilliantly colored, heavenly maidens scattering flowers within. There was a glaze-like luster in the depths of the world, as if it was an unmatched Buddhist country, an immortal Tao world. However, Zhongli instinctively felt that this passage was filled with dense demonic intent. That was the arrival of the devil race. The passage to the demon realm was opened. Gulp, gulp, waves of violet immortal chi seeped out from space. On a mountain on earth, a crack opened up and a passageway appeared. This passageway was a gate that was tens of thousands of meters tall. Within the gate was a boundless world, and immortal Tao runes flowed in. This was the true world of immortals. After that, another tyrannical aura spread out. In the passageway, countless bronze-colored auras appeared. Martial arts dominated the world. Martial arts reached the pinnacle. This was the true opening of the martial arts world. From now on, the experts of the martial arts world would descend here. Bang, 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 bang. With the myriad world celestial sphere as the center, the strongest auras appeared from the cracks. They were all powerful worlds. Zhongli even saw that the thunder world had also opened up, and it was filled with violent thunder and lightning. The immortal world, martial world, thunder world, and demon realm have all opened their passageways. As expected, with the changes of the myriad world celestial sphere, powerful existences will descend. At that time, humanity will truly be in danger. But it's also an opportunity, thought Zhongli. He retracted his divine will to avoid attracting the attention of some powerful existences. Whoosh! Suddenly, a bright light shot out from the depths of the dragon dimension. Then, an extremely powerful existence walked out of it. The first to come out was from the dragon race. That dragon who walked out was a woman. Her eyebrows were curved and her eyes were like crescent moons. She was dressed in a plain brocade robe and looked very elegant and fresh. She was completely different from the other dragons. Logically speaking, the dragon race should all be shining with a golden light. But this woman had returned to her natural state. Behind her was a young man. It was Long Ri Huang, the one who had led the dragon race's army to escape. His father, Long Zaiqian, had been killed by martial ancestor Ba Liming with a single punch. But now, it seemed that this woman's cultivation base was many times stronger than Long Zaiqian's. Even Mo Yixiong and Xue Jing couldn't compare to her. Zhongli had no idea how many grand daos this woman had cultivated. This was terrifying. After all, his current cultivation was countless times stronger than it was that day, and his gaze was sharp as well. Yet, he was actually unable to see through this woman's cultivation. Exactly how strong was this woman? Little Phoenix, is this the myriad world celestial sphere? The woman asked Long Ri Huang. Your father, Long Zaiqian, was killed here? But I know the humans are very weak. How could they kill your father? It's a human expert, martial ancestor Ba Liming. In front of this woman, Long Ri Huang was like a little eunuch. He had a fawning smile on his face, but when he thought of Ba Liming, he shivered. That person killed my father with a single punch, and that wasn't his true self. It was just an illusion. Rumor has it that his true body is suppressed in the depths of the Immortal Tower. It's very likely that he offended the master of the Immortal Tower. What? The woman was shocked. The master of the Immortal Tower? He's even stronger than our dragon race's heaven's will. His subordinates, even the most junior of them, are all experts with 10 grand daos. And he even has a virtual godhood. Just how strong is that martial ancestor Ba Liming? Grand Princess, you can use your space-time reversal art to see how strong that martial ancestor Ba Liming is. I'm someone who experienced that battle. Long Ri Huang actually knelt on both knees. The dragon race was a proud existence. They wouldn't kneel to anyone. But now that Long Ri Huang was kneeling, it meant that he had no dignity in front of this woman. That's fine. You're someone who experienced that battle. I can learn the true meaning of that battle from you. The dragon queen tapped Long Ri Huang's head with her jade finger. Rumble. A scene flickered, and within the scene, Zhongli was fighting against 6 great experts. He was on the verge of death, and the martial ancestor Ba Liming appeared in the starry sky. With a single punch, Long Zaiqian died, and a few more punches followed, killing everyone else. Powerful. The Dragon Queen's expression turned serious. This is indeed not his real body. This is a strand of his divine will. No, it's not even a divine will. It's a virtual projection. It's like he's using the third universe as a mirror and then projecting his shadow down. He's looking at the mirror. The person in the mirror actually has such power. This kind of almighty being must have the cultivation of a god. Could it be that there are gods among the humans on Earth? Yes, humans on Earth possess the bloodline of the primordial heavenly king. Coupled with their special souls, once they erupt, they will become great figures who could destroy the world. Long Ri Huang crawled up. Princess, you have to take revenge for me. Destroy the humans. The dragon race's army and my father can't die in vain. I'm afraid not. The dragon queen shook her head. Little Phoenix, this martial ancestor Ba Liming's cultivation is terrifying. If we destroy the humans. So what if he appears again? Actually, I would like to have a good talk with the current leader of the humans. After all, the dragon race wants the myriad realm celestial sphere, and they're the natives of the myriad realm celestial sphere. They have a unique advantage, and we strong dragons don't oppress local snakes. The humans have already moved to the depths of the cultivation world. You can use your supreme divine abilities to observe that world, said Long Ri Huang. There's no need. The leader of Earth's humans is here. I can feel his breathing. The Dragon Clan princess moved slightly. Jiang Li's hair stood on end because he saw the Dragon Queen's gaze lock onto him. Then, the space around him collapsed, and she appeared in front of him. Then, the pressure from her body made him feel like he was suffocating. This woman's cultivation was truly unfathomable. He didn't know what level it had reached. Right now, Jiang Li wasn't her match at all. However, he wasn't afraid because he had formed an alliance with the cultivation world's heaven's will. At the most crucial moment, the heavens would support him. Don't be nervous, Jiangli. The Dragon Queen smiled and said, "You're very strong, and you're connected to an extremely strong existence. I don't want to attack you. Our dragon race isn't a demon race that specializes in invading. We'll still form an alliance with valuable beings. How about it? I'm here to form an alliance with you. You're also a foreign dragon because your wife is Long Yuji." Form an alliance? Jiangli smiled. "Mighty existence from the dragon world. I was tricked by Long Zaition. If I work with you, it'll be like asking a tiger for its skin. I don't want to invite a wolf into my house and ruin the foundation of the human race." That might not be the case. The dragon princess waved her hand, and the image of the cultivation world appeared in front of her. What a huge dimension, a magnificent one. It's a pity that this dimension can't be upgraded overnight, especially when there are so many experts. This is a piece of juicy meat. Don't you want to have another ally? I think it's impossible for this dimension to rise without an ally. Is that so? Jiangli said. Then powerful existence. How do you want to work with me? Could it be that you can make our dimension rise quickly? Of course. I can help you kill countless experts and sacrifice them to the cultivation world's heaven's will to expand its scale and foundation. Apart from this, I can also let the vassal races of the dragon race enter the cultivation world and pray for the entire world. The Dragon Queen said, "From what I can see, for this world to rise, I'm afraid it'll take decades. By then, this place will have become a battlefield of 10,000 races. It'll take too long. If I help you, we can work together, and this dimension can rise within a year." Chapter 603. Rise in a year. Hearing the Dragon Queen's promise, Jiang Li's heart jumped. If that was the case, then he really could work together with the dragon race. Even though everyone was a soldier and the entire human race went out to hunt monsters and offer sacrifices, it was a pity that it would take a long time for the cultivation world to become stronger. Generally speaking, astronomical time was measured in the hundreds of thousands of years, or even hundreds of millions of years. The cultivation world was essentially the age of the universe, and had existed for many, many years. The time it would take to rise to a higher level would likely be even longer than the human race. Time waited for no one. In the future, more and more experts would gather near the myriad world's celestial sphere, and if the cultivation world didn't rise to a higher level, it would be like a fat piece of meat being targeted by a pack of hungry wolves. "That's right," Princess Dragon said. The Dragon Race Princess said, "Jiangli, you should know the power of our dragon race." "Be specific," Jiangli said, waving his hand dismissively. "What do we need to do to rise to a higher level?" "Don't tell me you need a lot of primal chaos paleo energy." Primal chaos paleo energy is the best way to form a world. After all, the myriad worlds come from primal chaos. But now that primal chaos has opened up, only the everlasting well has primal chaos paleo energy. "Don't tell me you dragon folk have it too?" "The dragon folk don't have primal chaos paleo energy," Princess Dragon said. "But we don't need it to rise to a higher level. Yes, primal chaos paleo energy is the best fertilizer in the world. But there's something else that's even better." "What is it?" Zhongli asked curiously. He knew that if the cultivation world wanted to grow, it needed to constantly absorb energy and nutrients to grow stronger. Unfortunately, there weren't many things that could do that. The only thing he knew of was primal chaos paleo energy. "The corpses of the Legion of Gods," Princess Dragon said. "Why is the third dimension so huge? It's so vast and boundless." "That's because when the ancient gods of the myriad worlds die, they fall into this dimension. The corpses of the Legion of Gods are what nourish this dimension. You should understand that, right? You want me to find the corpses of gods and then merge them with the cultivation world? That way, the world will rise to a higher level?" "That's a good idea. But where am I supposed to find the corpses of gods?" Zhongli asked. "Not you, but us." The Dragon Queen said, "I actually have another purpose for coming to the three-dimensional universe this time, and that is to find the corpse of one of my seniors. One of my Dragon Clan seniors had cultivated to become a dragon god, but in a battle in the outside world, he fell along with several enemies and fell into the three-dimensional universe. I must find the remains of this dragon god. Logically speaking, it shouldn't have completely melted because it hasn't been dead for long. What do you want the bones for? Jiangli, do you also want to obtain the corpse of a god and sacrifice it to the dimension of the dragon world to obtain a great blessing? This is one aspect. The Dragon Queen said. There's another important point. An extremely important treasure of our dragon world also fell into the three-dimensional universe along with this dragon god senior. I must find it. Of course, you can't take the corpse of our dragon clan senior, but after the death of the dragon clan senior, there were also a few foreign gods. After finding them, you can bring the corpse of the god into the cultivation world and then sacrifice it as fertilizer. The entire world will immediately go through all kinds of earth-shattering changes. You don't know how much a god's corpse can contribute to the development of the world. Even the human race on Earth as a whole will improve. It will become a tyrannical race. The corpse of a god can indeed improve the world, but since you want to find the corpse of the Dragon Clan Senior, why come to me? Your cultivation is very strong. It doesn't matter if you have more or less of me. Doing this for you is something that doesn't matter. Jiangli didn't believe it. No, you are very important to me. First, your soul was born from a myriad worlds celestial sphere. It has a special characteristic and can move unimpeded in the three-dimensional universe. Second, you have an almost immortal godhead, which can conceal my aura, so I can use my power to my heart's content in the three-dimensional universe without being restricted. Now, the power of the myriad worlds celestial sphere has expanded into the Milky Way, which is about 100,000 light years away. Outside this range, I basically can't use any magic power. The higher my cultivation, the more I will be suppressed. The Dragon Princess said, therefore, in the three-dimensional universe, there are very few experts who descend. This is because the force of the universe is simply destructive to experts, especially gods. If gods come here, there's only one word for them, death. That's impossible. The experts of our human race, Wang Chao and Martial Ancestor Ba Liming, are very strong. Why aren't they threatened by the three-dimensional universe? Zhongli didn't believe it. Because you were born from the myriad worlds celestial sphere. The myriad worlds celestial sphere is actually an agreement of the myriad worlds. It was created to resist the three-dimensional universe. Think about it. Among the myriad worlds celestial sphere, there was finally a god. After this god died, he fell into the three-dimensional universe and became the universe's nourishment. In this way, didn't the myriad worlds become the three-dimensional universe's food? This universe is constantly expanding. Sooner or later, it will devour all the myriad worlds. In the end, the universe will return to chaos. The three-dimensional universe can give birth to all things, but it can also destroy all things. I want to borrow your aura and soul to contaminate my soul. Then, with the help of your godhead, I can move freely in search for the fallen dragon god. The Dragon Queen explained in detail. I see. Zhongli finally understood. He also knew that the Dragon Queen wasn't lying. The three-dimensional universe was indeed different. But the universe is vast. Searching for the corpse of a god is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Unless you know the coordinates of your dragon god's fall, of course. How can I find it without the coordinates? The Dragon Queen said, it's very difficult to find a corpse in the vast universe. Fortunately, I can find the aura of the Dragon Clan's Dharma treasure. As she spoke, she took out a golden seal. There were many floating little dragons on the seal, shining brightly. It didn't seem like there was anything special about it. However, there seemed to be an ancient summoning in the deepest part of the seal, calling people to a mysterious place. This is the Dragon Clan's dragon-seeking seal. It's the child body of that magic treasure. That's why this seal can automatically sense the mother body's aura. In the dragon realm, I used a great divine ability to search the world to refine this seal. Finally, I found the location and coordinates of the divine item's fall. As long as I follow this aura, I'll be able to find the fallen dragon god and the corpses of the other gods. The Dragon Queen smiled. Next, let's combine our minds. Then, You can use the power of the true God's Godhead to cover my aura. How about it? Sure, I can work with you. But I don't want to leave here for now. Without me, if the experts of the myriad worlds invade humanity, it will be a disaster. Jiangli wasn't willing. You want benefits, right? The Dragon Queen saw through Jiang Li's intentions. Right now, the myriad world sphere isn't very strong. When those experts come out, they will only be in the Milky Way. They haven't reached the cultivation world yet. Moreover, the cultivation world's heavens is a top expert. Because he isn't human, he won't be bound by the three-dimensional laws. Ordinary experts aren't his match. The cultivation world's heavens wasn't bound because he didn't have emotions. He was actually a machine. In a sense, the entire cultivation world was a type of technology, natural technology. Jiangli didn't say anything. Okay, I'll give you benefits. The Dragon Queen moved slightly, and a pill appeared in her hand. It was dark green, and when she spun it, it lit up the entire area green. This is the Dragon Essence God Pill. It's made from tens of thousands of rare herbs in the dragon world, along with the blood, sweat, and tears of the dragon race seniors. Once you swallow it and use your soul fire to refine it, it can greatly strengthen your mental energy. If I'm not wrong, your mental energy is equivalent to an expert with 9 Daos. It's terrifying. If you eat this Dragon Essence God Pill, it'll be complete, and you'll be able to reach my level. Reach your level? Jiangli seemed to understand her realm. Could it be that you're an expert with 10 Daos? Correct. The Dragon Queen smiled. I'm Dragon Hua, and I've cultivated 10 Daos. However, I haven't formed the virtual Godhead. 10 Daos, and you haven't formed the virtual Godhead? Didn't they say that in theory, 3 great Daos are enough to cultivate the virtual Godhead? Jiangli felt that this Dragon Queen dragon was really too strong. The virtual Godhead formed from 3 Daos is very weak, and it's almost impossible to form the true Godhead. Why should I seek it? Dragon Queen casually said, also, try out the power of this Dragon Essence God Pill. If it works, I can sell it to you humans. What do you think? Jiang Li's heart stirred, and a wave of power enveloped the pill. Immediately, an endless amount of data appeared in front of him, and many of the pill's structures and abilities were revealed. Very good. What a powerful pill, but I won't be using it. I want to cultivate on my own. I'll be taking this pill. After analyzing the structure, he put the pill away. It could be given to human experts, and there was no point in him taking it now. You're very careful. I can even help you kill Jiang Nailin. Dragon Hua said, you want to take the Destiny Tablet Chi from him, right? Jiangli said, that aura can quickly turn the virtual Godhead into the true Godhead. Chapter 604. A man and a woman were strolling in the starry sky. The man was Jiang Li, and the woman was Long Hua. Each step they took covered dozens of light years, or even hundreds of light years. The two had come to an agreement. Jiang Li would help Long Hua conceal her soul aura and walk out of the Milky Way galaxy to search for the corpses of the Dragon God and the otherworldly gods. As expected, Long Hua's body trembled the moment she stepped out of the Milky Way galaxy. It was as if she was being suppressed, but Jiang Li's Emperor Relic True Godhead shrouded her body, assimilating her aura. Apart from that, Jiang Li's aura was also connected to Long Hua's, allowing her to take some of her origin energy. Of course, Long Hua's origin energy was also given to Jiang Li in return. In other words, Jiang Li would not be rejected by the Dragon World's heavenly will when he went to the Dragon World in the future. This was an equivalent exchange. The two walked side by side and soon left the Milky Way galaxy. This was not a wormhole jump, but a kind of universal plane teleportation. Long Hua's cultivation was terrifying, almost on par with the heavenly will of the cultivation world. Although Jiang Li's mental strength was 9,000 dimensional units, which was equivalent to an expert with 9 great Dao, it was only mental strength. The realm was not comparable at all. The power of 9 great Dao combined was not something he could fight at the moment, let alone an expert with 10 great Dao combined. Right now, Jiang Li could at most defeat a powerhouse with 6 great Dao and be on equal footing with someone with 7 great Dao. If he encountered someone with 8 great Tao, he could protect his life and flee in panic. However, someone with 9 great Tao would definitely be able to kill him. Of course, this was only his own strength. If he used the Great Emperor Relic, even Longhua would not be able to kill him instantly. This way, he could buy himself enough time to teleport back to the cultivation world. Therefore, as long as he did not encounter those insanely strong experts, Zhongli would still be able to protect himself. Moreover, Longhua had a favor to ask of him. If she lost his protection, it would be very dangerous for her to stay here. The two strolled leisurely through the starry sky. Planets flashed past continuously. Although it was beautiful, it was very boring. In the universe, most journeys were dull and lonely because there were only desolate planets with no life. Occasionally, there would be some living creatures on some planets, but they were primitive animals. It was too difficult to give birth to experts on planets. Dragonwa held the seal in her hand and continued to shuttle through space. The two of them passed through the Milky Way galaxy and headed for other galaxies. Their speed increased once again. This time, it wasn't Zhongli using the Grand Emperor's relic to jump. Instead, it was Dragonwa using a mysterious movement art. With the cultivation of 10 great Taos, she traversed through time and space, turning the formless into the tangible, and using the heavenly Tao to comprehend the primordial spirit. She really had the power to appear in any place at will. Just with this, Zhongli felt that even if he successfully cultivated all the infinite great Taos, he might not be able to match up to her. What kind of movement skill is this? It's so amazing. Zhongli couldn't help but ask. This is the ultimate art of our dragon race, the 3 realms conqueror. Longhua activated her movement technique and pushed it to its limits. In the end, she was able to traverse an entire galaxy, tens of thousands of light years, or even hundreds of thousands of light years with a single step. Most people wouldn't be able to use this ultimate skill because they don't have enough powers. As for me, I'm only barely able to use it because I've cultivated 10 great Taos. After flying for an unknown amount of time, Zhongli could no longer sense the cultivation world. He had completely lost contact with the cultivation world. It was obvious that this distance had exceeded 100 million light years. 100 million light years away. Even with his cultivation, it was difficult for him to sense it. But at this point, he couldn't be bothered to think about it anymore. Finding the god's corpse was the most important thing. The planets grew larger and larger. Zhongli and Longhua flew further and further. 100 million light years away, 200 million light years away, 500 million light years away, 1 billion light years away. On Earth, people could observe star fields that were hundreds of millions of light years away. However, this kind of observation was not reliable. This was because the scenes they saw were actually things that happened hundreds of millions of years ago. Between star fields, a lot of things could happen in hundreds of millions of years. The ancient galaxy was getting more and more mysterious. Zhongli had never flown so far before. The range of human activity was at most hundreds of thousands of light years away. They were only wandering around a few star fields around the Milky Way. Now, Zhongli had almost reached an ancient galaxy that he had never seen before. He saw many beautiful and strange sceneries. There were planets that were larger than the solar system or even the cultivation world. They emitted blazing gases and a strong gravitational force. The gravitational force of these planets could even suck in cultivators of the Great Tao. Apart from that, there were all kinds of cosmic storms, cosmic turbulence, cosmic vortexes, cosmic auroras. Some planets were very large, but very light. They were like bubbles floating in the universe, constantly wandering. These were wandering planets. Or rather, they were not planets, but creatures that looked like cosmic jellyfish. Zhongli had never seen a creature that was the size of a planet before. This time, he saw one. Apart from that, he also saw some half-dimensional worlds that were exactly the same as the cultivation world. There were also living creatures living in them, but they were not the world of cultivators. Some of them were actually the legends and civilizations of magic, swords, heroes, and knights. Some of them were not humans, but alien civilizations. Some of them even had mountains, rivers, and primeval forests that had just developed. There were no intelligent life forms yet. Of course, some of them were purely technological. There were all kinds of battleships and spaceships that were exploring the vicinity of tens of thousands of light years with themselves as the center. Some intelligent life forms were snake-like monsters. They had many tentacles and could build machinery many times faster than humans. There was a lot of knowledge that humans had never seen before. Unknowingly, Zhongli and Longhua had already arrived in a galaxy that was 10 billion light years away. This ancient galaxy exuded a primordial aura everywhere. Zhongli felt that he had completely forgotten about time. It was as if he had arrived in ancient times. On Earth, one could see things that were 10 billion light years away. However, that was a scene from 10 billion years ago. As for what it looked like now, no one knew. But now, Zhongli had personally come here to see the changes of the ancient times. He felt that his life was not in vain. He and Longhua had crossed a distance of 10 billion light years. In terms of Earth years, it might have only been 2 to 3 months. That's right, Zhongli and Longhua had already been out for 2 to 3 months. He had no idea what Earth had changed. Along the way, Zhongli's spiritual will swept across many civilizations. He recorded the knowledge in the depths of his mind and gathered it together to analyze it with the Grand Emperor's relic. He had brought the Grand Emperor's relic with him, but the optical computer on S Infinite was left in the cultivation world. Now, even the heavens will of the cultivation world could not sense him. This trip was really a long one. If not for Longhua, he would not have been able to travel so far. If he wanted to travel so far, he would need at least a few decades of flying. We've been out for almost 100 days. Will we reach the end if we just fly aimlessly like this? We won't be able to go back by then. Zhongli asked as he flew. Isn't this a search? What? You can't take it anymore. I've only flown for 100 days. It's normal for me to fly for decades, centuries, or even thousands of years in the vast galaxy. Our dragon world is so vast that it would take me thousands of years to finish exploring it. Dragon Vaiwa was very patient as she fiddled with the dragon-seeking seal in her hand continuously. A few decades? By the time I return, humanity will be extinct. Zhongli sighed. Not necessarily. You humans have a savior called Wang Chao. Didn't he leave? Why didn't humanity go extinct? Dragonwa gradually became familiar with the history of the human race. On the contrary, you emerged. You are also the savior of the human race, but you should retreat and leave the human race. That way, another savior will emerge. If you are here, the fate of the human race will revolve around you. In this way, the other young people will not be able to emerge. I see. Zhongli thought about it and felt that it made sense. As the saying went, two tigers cannot live on the same mountain. Fate was a very mysterious thing. However, humanity hasn't stabilized yet. I'll only leave after we enter a peaceful period of at least 100 years of peace. Right now, we might face extinction at any time. I can't leave. Lama wanted to say something else. Suddenly, the dragon-seeking seal emitted an extremely bright light. There's a reaction. Hard work pays off. Let's continue searching. We'll soon find the place where the god fell. Zhongli had an idea and immediately moved forward. The two of them advanced for another 4 or 5 days before another star field appeared in front of them. This star field was not an ancient star field. Instead, it gave off the aura of a newborn baby. It seemed that this star field had only formed not too long ago. At a glance, this star region looked like a long sword. It was about 10 times the size of a galaxy. However, some of the planets were shining brightly. They were filled with a threatening aura and a domineering aura. These planets? Zhongli looked over and discovered that those planets were actually sparkling and translucent like diamonds, containing rich spiritual energy. Oh my God, he yelled, a star system with so many planets. Each of them is a single piece of spirit stone? That's right. This sword-shaped star system had many planets that looked like stars. They were all made up of spirit stones. These were the resources that humanity lacked. Spirit stones would forever be the best source of energy for ordinary living beings in the universe to cultivate. Although humans on Earth could absorb the energy of the celestial world, this energy could only be digested by experts at the meditation realm. If an ordinary person absorbed it, their body would explode or turn into a purple crystal statue. So many planets are all spirit stones. Oh my God, if they were all transferred to the cultivation world, the quality of humans on Earth would improve a lot. Moreover, with so many resources, we can completely balance the power of the sections. Zhongli was shocked by the scene in front of him. In the cultivation world, there were many mineral veins and spirit stones. However, many sects divided them up. There were too many monks and not enough gruel. The population of the cultivation world was increasing. Spirit stones could not make ends meet. Any mineral vein could cause sects to fight for it. They would not hesitate to kill and destroy the sect. There were trillions of humans now. The amount of spirit chi absorbed was astronomical every day. But now, it wasn't a problem of mineral veins. The entire planet was made up of spirit stones. Along the way, Zhongli saw many planets. Some planets were completely made of diamonds, some were completely made of gold, some were completely made of silver, platinum, and many other metals. There were even planets that were made of flesh and blood. However, this was the first time he saw an entire planet made up of spirit stones. This star region was formed by a god. In the center of this star region, there's a god's corpse that hasn't been melted. Dragonwa said. Chapter 605. The corpses of gods are indeed terrifying. Their vital energy can actually turn into spirit stone planets. If this was in the cultivation world, it would really be a great supplement for the world. Zhongli looked at the spirit stone planets, and his entire body was filled with excitement. With these resources, the advancement of humans and the cultivation world would be 10 times faster. Be careful. These spirit stone planets contain a lot of power. They even contain the resentment of the gods when they died. Once the resentment is generated, I will be killed. Although the spirit stone planets were very tempting, and even Dragonwa couldn't help but be tempted, she didn't move. Instead, she carefully observed the changes in this star sector. This star sector spanned about 10,000 light years, much larger than the cultivation world. However, it didn't form a half dimension. It was just a star sector. In the center of this star sector, there was a strong light and a hazy fog that covered everything. It was impossible to see what was inside. Jiang Li's spiritual will seeped out and reached the outside of the star sector. Instantly, he felt a huge gravitational force that was trying to pull him in. It was like a super huge cosmic black hole. ZZZ. He retracted his spiritual will, but it was very difficult. He felt that the star sector specialized in absorbing spiritual energy and souls. Great Tao experts would die the moment they entered. God's resentment has spread throughout this star region. In the center of this star region, within a radius of 1,000 light years, there are corpses of gods that have yet to melt. I don't know how many corpses there are, but there are definitely more than 2. One of them is an elder of our dragon clan, Dragonwa said. Then what do we do now? If we don't enter, how can we collect the corpses of gods? Moreover, with my spiritual power, I can't collect this star sector. It's good enough that I can collect these spirit stone planets. But now it seems that these spirit stone planets are connected, and there is a natural formation between the planets. If I forcibly collect them, I will destroy the balance between the star systems. The entire star system will probably explode, and the spirit stone planets will burn and turn into a huge amount of energy. Not to mention me. Even 10 of me will be turned into ashes. Jiang Li's eyes flickered with a bright light. He seemed to have found some mysteries and could see how dangerous this star field was. I didn't expect you to see through it. Longwa was taken aback. Your cultivation seems to have improved again after traveling through space for the past few months. I can't tell. It's nothing. Jiangli knew that he hadn't been idling during the past few months. He had been meditating and cultivating. In fact, his cultivation was even better than when he was in closed-door cultivation. That was because his spirit had fully sensed the flow of time from 10 billion light years away, the changes in the universe, the expansion of space-time, and the collapse of the void. Along the way, he comprehended all sorts of strange scenery. His soul flame absorbed the knowledge of 10 billion light years, constantly changing colors. Originally, his soul flame was golden in color, but now it had become pure. The golden flames had a gentleness to them, no longer showing off their sharpness. This was a return to the natural state. Indeed, it was better to travel 10,000 miles than to read 10,000 books. That's right. This star sector is extremely dangerous. Even I can't bring the corpses of gods with me. Longhua said, after a tiger dies, its aura remains. Even beasts don't dare to approach its fur, let alone gods. The gods themselves are existences that can't be blasphemed. Even in death, there's still a natural law that protects its body. Only this three-dimensional universe can slowly melt it, like an animal's corpse melting into the soil. But I naturally have a way. How can I return empty-handed after seeing such a great fortune? Wouldn't that be meaningless? This dragon-seeking seal is a key for us. We can enter the center of this star sector and find the divine item of the Dragon Clan. Once we find it, I'll start refining it. After refining it, we'll be able to obtain the legacy of the Dragon Clan Senior. We'll be able to use its remnant to stimulate its body and sacrifice it to return to the Dragon Realm. As for the corpses of the other gods, we can also use the power of the Dragon Realm Senior's sacrifice to make this star sector lose its balance. Finally, we can open your Grand Emperor relic and absorb the entire star sector. What? When Zhongli heard this plan, he couldn't believe it. How is that possible? My Grand Emperor relic is so powerful, it can absorb the entire star sector? You're not joking, are you? Of course, Longhua said. You have no idea how powerful your Grand Emperor relic is. Let me tell you, when a god dies, the moment he enters the three-dimensional universe, his godhood will immediately collapse and disintegrate. Think about it. Even I am suppressed by the universe's instincts when I enter the three-dimensional universe, let alone a god. After a god's godhood collapses, he dies and his corpse will slowly melt. Actually, it's the same as ordinary human death. The soul disappears first, the will is lost, and the corpse slowly rots. Think about it. The moment an ordinary person dies, the soul disappears quickly, but the corpse will rot in a few years. If it's preserved well, the corpse will not rot for thousands of years. It's the same for gods. The godhood collapses instantly. That's because godhood is the soul. As for your godhood, it's been in the third dimension for so long without collapsing. It's a miracle among miracles. If my speculations are correct, this god has the most profound cultivation base in all the myriad worlds in the universe. He's the ancestor of all gods and is very close to primal chaos. Furthermore, this godhood is no ordinary godhood. It's very likely that it's monarch godhood. Monarch godhood? Zhongli didn't understand such things. He couldn't even come into contact with the higher realms of the gods. To the almighty beings of ancient times, he was nothing more than an ant. Yes, monarch godhood, Dragonwa said. If you could unleash the full power of monarch godhood, you could easily suck in a planetary system the size of the Milky Way, much less an entire planetary system. Furthermore, if this godhead can absorb the entire star domain, then it will definitely create a passageway that connects to the world of cultivation. In that case, it won't take too long for us to return. Perhaps we can cross the distance of 10 billion light years in an instant. That's true, Zhongli said, fully aware that he hadn't even unleashed 1/10,000th of the power of the Grand Emperor Saraira. Most likely, it had been left behind by one of the Grand Emperors of the immortal world. Let's cut the crap, Dragonwa said. Let's get inside. With the dragon-seeking seal, the planetary system's spell formation won't do much damage to us. There's no time to waste. I'm just worried that some almighty being will get ahead of us and try to take the corpse of this god. If that happens, we'll end up helping someone else. How is that even possible? The third universe rejects experts. The only reason you were able to come here was because of the power of the myriad world's celestial orb. Plus, you had my help, as well as the Grand Emperor Saraira. If what you said is true, and that a Grand Empress Saraira is monarch godhood, then there aren't many in the myriad worlds. What expert could possibly be here? Zhongli smiled faintly. These days, he had a deep understanding of the laws of the universe. Therefore, he felt that with his own cultivation, he would be like a fish in water in the 3D universe. This was because experts would not enter it. That's the theory, but there are always unexpected things in this world. In fact, in the three-dimensional universe, there are two special existences. One is the star territory of the brain of the universe, and the other is the star territory of the immortal tower. The people in these two star territories can ignore the existence of the laws of the three-dimensional universe and rule the three-dimensional universe with tyrannical power. Dragon Hua said, "The master of the brain of the universe and the immortal tower is something that even the dragon realms will is wary of. You could say that they're the two holy lands of the myriad worlds. The brain of the universe and the immortal tower? No wonder martial ancestor Ba Liming wanted me to go to the immortal tower. He said the future of humanity lies there." Zhongli murmured, "What's so special about those two planetary systems? Why haven't I seen them before?" "Let's not talk about those two planetary systems. Let's take them quickly." Dragon Hua waved her hand, and the dragon-seeking seal appeared. It shone with a golden light and turned into some golden sand. The sand enveloped the two of them, and they entered the planetary system. As expected, the pressure on the two of them was greatly reduced after the dragon-seeking seal was used. They flew into the interior of the god's star field without feeling the pull of gravity. However, the closer they got to the center of the planetary system, the brighter the light became. In the end, it was as vast as the mountains and the seas. The brightness was billions of times brighter than the sun. In the universe, there were many stars that were brighter than the sun. However, the brightness of the center of the star field in front of him was too terrifying. Zhongli had never seen such a bright star field before. He was still about 3 light years away from the center, but the brightness almost melted him. It was impossible for a great Tao expert to enter it. Without the protection of the Emperor's relic, he would have been turned into ashes. The power of a god was indeed not something he could match up to. Quickly absorb this power and strengthen your primordial spirit. The light here isn't ordinary light. It's a kind of eternal divine light that comes from the fall of a god, Dragon Hua said. This is rare. It doesn't exist in our dragon realm. She struggled to hold on while absorbing the light outside. The light was heavy, slow, and had a mountainous pressure. It was absorbed into her body, and the power in her body started to circulate. Zhongli felt that the dragon Hua in front of him was as great as the solar system. When she circulated her power, it was irresistible. Her divine might was like a prison, and her divine grace was like the ocean. Zhongli immediately started to absorb. However, as soon as he absorbed a bit of it into his body, there was a rumbling sound as his entire body began to burn. It was like an ordinary person swallowing gasoline and then igniting it. His soul flame and the array were being incinerated from the inside out. He felt like he was about to die. Chapter 606. Zhongli had never thought that just by absorbing a trace of light, he would actually end up burning himself from playing with fire. That trace of divine light ignited all the true energy in his body, wanting to completely turn him into ashes. Even his soul flame was about to melt within it. Of course, it was wishful thinking to think that the divine light could kill him. Things are different now. He had been through life and death situations on numerous occasions, and had long since gained a keen understanding of what was going on. My 5th magical law is the central magical law, although I haven't finished cultivating it yet. Now is the time to use this opportunity to acquire the most powerful divine ability. That's because this light is coming from the center of the planetary system, and it contains a tiny bit of the profundities of the central magical law. Jiang Li's mind flickered with enlightenment, and his heart wriggled as a powerful divine ability began to form. At the same time, the magical symbols inside of him began to form prismatic talismans. These were the central magical symbols. They were like prismatic crystal hearts, each of which contained a high degree of concentrated energy. In fact, compared to Zhongli's previous magical laws, the energy was even more compressed. Every rune seemed to compress a small sun within it. Originally, Zhongli had wanted to form a central magical law, but that required an infinite amount of energy. The central magical law was actually the core magical law of the central great Tao, which Zhongli had comprehended and used as the foundation for his infinite divine fist. It wasn't as simple as he had imagined. Under normal circumstances, if Zhongli wanted to cultivate the central magical law, he would have to find a very concentrated source of energy, such as the core of the sun or the cores of other stars. Then he would have to refine those stars into magical symbols, which would take a very long time. For example, if he found a star in the depths of the universe that looked exactly like the sun, he would first have to set up a spell formation, and then slowly refine it into dozens of magical symbols. Then he would have to refine them one by one until they formed the central magical law. The central law meant that it was the center of all things. It was the place where power was the strongest and most concentrated. It was also the region where energy was the most concentrated. Therefore, it was very difficult for Zhongli to condense the central law. But now, this was a good place for him to cultivate the central law. The ability of the divine light was that it could melt the energy of a great Tao expert. It could be said that even Zhongli himself couldn't condense such a high density of energy. But he could use his soul fire to condense the runes of the central law. TSS, 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 symbols condensed one after another. They were all diamond-shaped hearts, and every single one of them contained extremely tyrannical energy. Then, as he went deeper, he continuously absorbed the divine radiance here. More and more symbols linked up, forming a large heart array. Originally, Zhongli's infinite matrix was a tetrahedron. The four sides were truth, fate, emotion, and fate. Only the center was empty, without a sovereign suppressing it. This meant that the limitless great Tao was not complete, and there were still many flaws. It also lacked an energy core, which meant that the power of the limitless godly fist could not be raised to its limit, nor could it unleash any kind of aura. For example, martial ancestor Ba Liming's fist will and true aura that could uproot mountains and rivers, split primordial chaos, and tear the universe apart. But now that the central magical law was complete, Zhongli's energy was rising, and his life force and psychic scale were rising. In his array, the central principle of the big heart was gradually condensed and became real. Every move of the infinite divine fist was changing rapidly in his mind. Many of the moves were being modified. Once again, the 14 moves of the infinite divine fist, from infinite origin to infinite heaven's aeon, were reorganized. The changes were more exquisite, and the power was greater. His martial arts realm seemed to have risen to another level. Roar! All of a sudden, he let out an enraged howl. Dragonwa had no idea what was happening, but all she saw was Zhongli being the center. Boundless divine light that could melt experts of the great Tao poured into Zhongli, causing the heart inside of him to begin transforming. Before long, the heart was shining brightly, and in fact, its power surpassed that of the sun. In other words, Zhongli had an actual sun inside of him. Central magical law? Dragonwa said, that's an ancient great Tao, the most fundamental magical law of the central great Tao. Everything is based on power, and the ancient central magical laws are very difficult to form. Using the power here to cultivate the central magical law isn't bad at all. Longhua said, since that's the case, I'll give you a hand and help you cultivate this central law even more perfectly. She opened her mouth, and a stream of aura rushed into Zhongli's body. She was actually helping Zhongli to quickly cultivate the central magical law. Zhongli's body trembled even more violently after receiving this power. Many of the divine lights in his body were imprisoned again, and the last crystal heart was finally formed. The energy contained in Zhongli's crystal heart was equivalent to 9 suns. It seemed to be the 9 suns that were shot down by the descendants of the ancient myths and legends, and he had poured them into the depths of his heart. I've finally cultivated the central magical law. Next, the 5 fundamental magical laws of the infinite great Tao will be the minor ones. I wonder how many magical laws of the infinite great Tao we'll need to cultivate? Zhongli wondered. The great Tao that you've comprehended yourself, the 5 magical laws, are very mysterious indeed. Dragonwa couldn't help but exclaim, these 5 magical laws are somewhat similar to earth, fire, water, wind, and space. However, they're even more exquisite than the 5. They give off a feeling of seeing the heavens, the earth, and all living beings. In my opinion, your structure is complete, but you're lacking in diversity. What is diversity? Zhongli knew that dragon, why it helped him just now. Without her help, he wouldn't have been able to cultivate the central magical law to this level. Now that she was guiding him in his cultivation, Zhongli was originally very wary of this woman. But now his wariness was slightly reduced, but he still wouldn't let his guard down. Diversity is all living beings. Dragonwa said, I've heard about your infinite great Tao from the experts of the dragon race, and I've been observing it closely these days. During the journey, Zhongli would occasionally communicate with Dragonwa. Dragonwa was very clear about his cultivation. Of course, it didn't matter to him. So what if Jiang Nalin learned his fist technique? Moreover, he gained more from discussing cultivation with Dragonwa. After all, she was a knowledgeable expert of the dragon race. She was proficient in the transformations of all living beings and the convergence of fate and fate. Her vision was 100 times better than his, so there was no harm in discussing cultivation with her. You have truth, fate, love, fate in the center. What you're lacking now is all living beings. Therefore, your next step should be related to all living beings. There are many living beings in the universe, and all of them must be included in your Tao. This Tao isn't easy to cultivate. Think about it. Wouldn't the infinite great Tao encompass an infinite number of living beings? This structure is too grand. Just a great Tao alone is more difficult than cultivating to become a god. It's very likely that you won't even be able to condense a great Tao before your lifespan runs out and you die. Dragonwa said, however, you've already embarked on this path, so it's already impossible to turn back. It doesn't matter. I have no regrets. Zhongli continued to absorb the godly light, replenishing his array. Now that he had successfully condensed the 5 laws, the infinity array could contain even more energy. Furthermore, he was also charging the Grand Emperor relic, allowing it to absorb the godly light, causing the depths of the relic to light up. Very good, very good. Your godhood is very desolate, and the divine light here is the aura of a fallen god that hasn't dissipated. It's divine energy. If it's added to the godhood, it can light up the core. Come, let me teach you how to light up the core of the godhood. After all, we'll have to use the godhood to absorb all the divine light, the planets, and the entire star region. Longhua was full of confidence. She sent a stream of psychic information to Zhongli, who could see that there was a black hole in the godhood core. As it absorbed the god light, it began to grow brighter and brighter. The Grand Emperor's relic actually had a connection with the world of cultivation. This was because it had absorbed too much divine light and started to connect to distant places. However, the distance of 10 billion light-years was too far. The Grand Emperor's relic's divine light hadn't been fully absorbed yet, so Zhongli didn't know what the world of cultivation was like. If he didn't know anything, he would be even further away from opening the passage. The good thing was that the Grand Emperor relic was constantly absorbing the godlight. With him as the center, the godlight around him grew thinner and thinner, allowing them to see what was going on inside. Sure enough, one could vaguely see 3 corpses lying in the center of the star field, 2 light-years away from each other. The 3 corpses had shrunk in size, but they were still huge. A million-meter-tall giant was like an ant in front of these 3 corpses, like bacteria. These 3 corpses, each of them was about the size of a light. They were much larger than any living creature in the universe. Zhongli had seen planet-sized jellyfish-like creatures in the universe, but he had never seen a creature that was 1 light-year tall. The distance of 1 light-year was very far. What kind of creature could be a light-year long? Jiang Li couldn't even imagine it. How could such a creature communicate? How could it survive? But then again, he realized that all three of them were gods. Gods couldn't be calculated with common sense, because they were gods. Gods are the strongest existences in the universe. Experts of the great Tao could refine planets, and gods could devour planetary systems. With a flick of their fingers, they could shatter the Milky Way. As expected, the elders of the dragon race are among them. The other two gods also died together with the elders of the dragon race. Dragon Vaiwa let out a long roar. She was very excited because she could clearly see the faces of the three gods. One of them wore purple clothes and had a faint immortal aura. The other one had bronze skin. It was the god of the martial world. The last one was the god of the dragon race. He was a heavenly dragon that was a light-year long in the sky. This was too terrifying. How much power could he have? No wonder the rules of the 3D universe wanted to suppress the gods. When the gods came to the 3D universe, their destructive power was too great. Even the infinite universe would be thrown into chaos. Gods. I've finally seen gods. They're actually gods of the immortal world and martial world. Jiang Li knew that a great fortune was right in front of him. If his and Dragon Vaiwa's plan succeeded, he would truly stand at the peak of the world. Chapter 607. The auras of the immortal realm, martial realm, and dragon realm resonated with each other. Their corpses were being melted by the three-dimensional universe. Their divine power turned into divine radiance and spread out, like stars emitting light and heat in the cold universe. Their auras gradually condensed into spirit stone planets outside. From this, one could see how concentrated and powerful the spiritual qi in their bodies were. In particular, if Jiang Li could get close to the corpses, he could learn more about the secrets of the dragon realm, immortal realm, and martial realm. They were all gods that carried the most primitive profundities of the three worlds. Jiang Li would definitely benefit more if he could peek into the three-world origins, especially the martial realm's corpse, which could push the various martial arts of the infinite divine fist to a level that others could no longer surpass. The martial realm's corpse. Jiang Li took a deep breath and aimed at the martial realm's corpse. With a slight inhale, a wave of divine power was transmitted from the martial realm's corpse. The power swept across a distance of tens of thousands of light years and spread into the distant universe. Jiang Li, on the other hand, transferred some of the martial profundities into his body. With a slight movement, the martial profundities melted into the infinite divine fist. Many flame martial gods appeared in his soul fire, constantly practicing the infinite divine fist and changing the techniques with their minds. The energy structure of Jiang Li's body underwent a new change. His body had a bronze color unique to the martial realm. You're cultivating? But now is not the time to cultivate. Lend me a hand. Longhua activated the dragon-seeking seal again and tried her best to sense. Suddenly, a beam of light shot out from the mouth of the dragon god's corpse. The beam seemed to pierce through the universe, leading to the distant past, present, and future. Jiang Li's sharp eyes saw that there seemed to be a weapon in the depths of the light. It looked like a heavenly halberd. The weapon emitted a ferocious aura. It was a peerless divine weapon. With a slight vibration, a chaotic aura was transmitted to the entire universe. Jiang Li's mind felt muddled. He used all his strength to suppress his spirit, and only then did he barely regain his spirit. What kind of weapon is that? Just by relying on its ferocious might, it can cause me to become chaotic, berserk, and even lose my rationality. Moreover, it's a light year away. Jiang Li simply couldn't believe it. He didn't believe that such a terrifying and evil weapon existed in this world. This is the ancient Chaos Halberd. It's the only peerless divine weapon in our dragon clan. Dragon Vaiwa let out a long howl of joy. So the ancient Chaos Halberd is here. Looks like my guess was right. Our Sutuwa dragon god was able to kill the gods of the martial realm and the immortal realm with it. I remember that there was a god from the devil world. Where did he go? Back then, when the ancient chaos halberd appeared, the dragon race, devil world, immortal world, and martial world's deities all came to fight for it. We, the dragon race, finally managed to obtain this divine weapon. However, an intense battle ensued. Even the dragon god who obtained the ancient chaos halberd fell here. Sadly, the time he obtained this weapon was too short. He wasn't able to fully control it. If not, he wouldn't have died. This divine weapon was not forged by humans, but directly descended from the primal chaos. What? A natural divine weapon directly descended from the primal chaos? Zhongli could not believe it. That's right. In ancient times, before the primal chaos was created, there were ancient creatures and ancient natural weapons. This ancient chaos halberd was one of them. If its power was in the hands of a god, it would be enough to cause chaos in the primordial times. Actually, let me tell you, the owner of the Immortal Tower and the owner of the Brain of the Universe Star Territory are very likely ancient creatures from before the creation of the primal chaos. Dragon Viwa said, "Although I cannot subdue this ancient chaos halberd, if I offer it to the dragon world's will, my contribution and reward will be immeasurable. Can we get close to this divine weapon?" Zhongli shook his head. It's hard to even get close to it, let alone pick it up. Although your cultivation is high, I'm afraid you won't be able to take it. Yes, even a god would find it difficult to control this ancient chaos halberd. It's hard to avoid the backlash. Dragon Viwa nodded. I don't covet it, because taking it is a disaster. Only in the hands of a powerful person can I guarantee its safety. An innocent man will get into trouble because of his wealth. A farmer who obtained the jade seal can only offer it up. Zhongli understood this very well. The ancient chaos halberd before him was a light year away, and the slightest bit of its aura could already throw him into chaos. What would happen if he held it in his hands? Our first step is to establish a connection with the dragon god heroic spirit, then set up a spell formation to sense the will of the dragon world. The combination of the corpse and the will of the dragon world will definitely evoke the memories of the ancient past. That will be the equivalent of sacrificing the corpse, and the archaic Chaosaurus halberd will return to the dragon world, where it will be in the hands of the will of the dragon world. Although it won't be as good as finding the good fortune jade disc for the immortal world, we'll still be able to benefit immensely. Dragon Viwa's calculations were very good. It seemed that this plan had been meticulously planned out. How do we set up the grand formation? With our arcane energy and combat arts, there's no way we can set up a grand formation around the corpse. Zhongli said, "Let's take it slow. Assist me." The grand formation I'm going to set up is called the Heavenly Dragon's Grand Formation. It means that after death, the souls of all the dragons must return to the heavenly kingdom and not fall into the astral world. Your Grand Emperor's relic will absorb the godly rays and condense them into flags. We don't need to do much. Once the grand formation is set up, the dragon worlds will descend and sense the dragon god's corpse, and the mission will be completed. Dragon Viwa said, "So we're the middleman?" Zhongli understood this logic. Yes, we're the middleman. Although the contribution won't be as great as direct sacrifice, we can only do this because we can't sacrifice the corpses of the gods. After the sacrifice, our strength will increase. After that, we'll transport the corpses of the two gods back and assimilate them into the cultivation world. What do you think? Dragon Viwa said. You're that generous? You're giving me the corpses of the two gods. Zhongli didn't believe it. Of course not. Our dragon race will sign an agreement with the cultivation world. I'll help the world level up, and I'll get a share of the results. It's like you humans' investment. If I make the investment and the cultivation world becomes a dimension, I'll get a portion of the godly power. Dragon Viwa said. That's true. Zhongli nodded. When the time comes, you can discuss it with the cultivation world's heaven's will. It's like a stock investment. The cultivation world is like a company. After the company goes public, the investors will get dividends. All right. I'll teach you the method of setting up the grand formation. You can use your Grand Emperor's relic to condense it. Dragon Viwa immediately transmitted her thoughts. Zhongli accepted it and immediately activated it. The Grand Emperor's relic continuously absorbed the godly rays here and spat them out, turning into a huge flag. The flag's mask was like a continent with tens of thousands of dragons roaring on it and interweaving runes. Jiang Li and Dragon Vaiwa continuously absorbed the godly rays into their bodies and condensed them into flags. It seemed like they wanted to cover the center of the entire star region. Great Tao experts could refine a planet, but how big could a planet be? The central region in front of them was a few light years wide. Even though Jiang Li and Dragon Vaiwa were many times stronger than ordinary Great Tao experts and had the Grand Emperor's relic, it was still difficult for them to cover an area of 1 light year. Just like that, the two of them continuously absorbed the godly rays and condensed them into flags. They then stuck them in the air and formed a grand formation. Another month or so passed. Jiang Li's cultivation grew stronger and stronger. It was very comfortable to cultivate here. His 5 major laws and infinite divine fist power had increased by a lot. He could even feel that the 6th major law was gradually being cultivated in his mind. The 6th major law encompassed all living beings and everything in the world. Jiang Li had yet to construct it and had yet to name it. He was waiting for the day when it would suddenly appear. I wonder what the cultivation world and Earth's laws are like now. Jiang Li actually felt homesick during the process of condensing. I'm not sure either, but let's speed up. Dragon Vaiwa said, when the Grand Emperor's relic absorbs enough energy and lights up its core, you will naturally be able to communicate with the cultivation world. Although you won't be able to transmit physical objects, you will still be able to receive information. That's all we can do. As Jiang Li condensed the flag, he observed and said, this grand formation is really difficult to condense. I'm afraid it will take us 1 to 2 years to complete it. 1 to 2 years is very fast. Dragon Vaiwa said, don't worry, there will be no problems with the cultivation world and humans. I have already instructed my subordinates to reinforce the cultivation world when necessary. There aren't many who would dare to fight the dragon race to the death. There's no other way. I've boarded your pirate ship. However, I will also be considered to have left the human race. I wonder what kind of experts will appear among the humans. If in 1 or 2 years, the human fate will be added to someone else. Jiang Li was looking forward to it. In the past, he had also rapidly improved in a few years. Crack, crack. Just as they continued to condense, a series of cracking sounds suddenly came from outside the star field. The entire star field was shaking. What happened? Jiang Li was puzzled. Not good. An expert is coming. I knew it. We won't be able to find the corpse of the god smoothly. Damn it. A calamity has indeed come. Let's hide quickly. Dragon Vaiwa's expression changed to anger and hatred. It must be someone from the immortal tower and the universe's brain. Their experts are not afraid of the 3-dimensional universe's pressure. That's why they would come. Let's see what kind of expert it is. As she spoke, she waved her hands continuously and the wind and clouds surged. The banners were all collected, and the place became clean again as if nothing had ever happened. She pulled Jiang Li, and with a flash, they were already out of the star field. Then they observed the various changes here from hundreds of thousands of light years away. Chapter 608. Damn it! Longhua, who was hiding, was still cursing. She and Jiang Li were hiding on an inconspicuous planet. This planet was even smaller than Earth. Looking at the sword-shaped god star field from afar, it was about the distance of 2 galaxies. However, with the cultivation of the 2 of them, this distance would only take a few minutes. They could reach it in a little more than 10 minutes. They could also see through the changes in a star field. If it had been a few months ago, Jiang Li wouldn't have been able to do that. But now that he had mastered the central law, his cultivation had improved significantly. The prismatic heart of the central law, which was formed by absorbing divine light, was even more powerful. When he activated it, his martial arts and mental strength would be raised to a whole new level. It's actually people from the immortal tower star field. Those guys are really despicable. My ancient chaos halberd, my god's corpse, and my progress. How dare they? Those antiques from the immortal tower are just creatures of chaos. Do they think they can do whatever they want? Longhua's eyes were filled with killing intent. Is it that group of people? Zhongli saw a battleship appear outside the God Star field. It was 3 times larger than the demon race's heaven-defying battleship. It was pure green and had a jade-like luster. It looked like a huge tower. Most battleships in the universe were disc-shaped and were called flying saucers. That was because flying saucers were shaped like mini galaxies, and even the Milky Way had a similar shape. Such a shape made it easy to travel through the universe. However, the structure of the tower-shaped battleship in front of him was naturally domineering. It was like a godly king battleship that could travel through the universe and ignore some of the laws of physics. This tower-shaped battleship is the battleship of the immortal tower star field. It is made of primordial, chaotic, divine jade. It is both a technological and a magical treasure, and it is not bound by the laws of the three-dimensional universe. Longhua frowned. However, this immortal tower battleship is also very rare in the infinite worlds. As far as I know, those who can control this battleship are at least experts of my level, with more than 10 great paths, or those who have mastered the virtual godhead. Is the immortal tower star field of force? Like a sect? Zhongli asked. That's right. The immortal tower's star region is a sect. However, this sect is so big that you can't even imagine it. The number of experts within it is indescribable. Longhua said, "These people came here and discovered the immortal's corpse. They will definitely bring it back. Our plan has failed at the last moment. All our efforts over the past few days have been wasted. I've been out for almost half a year, and my fruit was snatched away just like that. Let alone the people from the immortal tower. Even if the master of chaos were to come here personally, I'd give it my all." Zhongli was extremely unwilling. The immortal's corpse was hard to come by, and he had done so much research. If it was snatched away, wouldn't all his previous efforts go to waste? Moreover, it would cause the advancement of the cultivation world to become a pipe dream. Don't get agitated. I think so too. Let's join forces. Even if they are from the immortal tower, we'll make them pay the price. Longhua's body was trembling. Damn it. Look, they're actually activating the battleship and absorbing divine power. As expected, Zhongli saw an emerald green wind tunnel suddenly appear on the battleship in the shape of the immortal tower. It began to absorb the divine light from afar. After the divine light was absorbed into the tunnel, a faint layer of silver appeared on the outside of the battleship. This was the substance that absorbed the divine light. This is ridiculous. They're actually absorbing the origin power of gods and converting it into heaven-defying silver, Longhua said. This way, the absorption speed is much faster than ours. Heaven-defying silver is the material that the devil race uses to build heaven-defying silver. However, heaven-defying silver only has a little bit of heaven-defying silver. Zhongli knew that heaven-defying silver was a precious material that contained the divinity of gods. Needless to say, the battleship built with it was extremely sturdy. Even Tao experts could not destroy it. Spiritual power could not penetrate it, and it even had the ability to transcend time and space. Divinity had always transcended time and space. Even in the cultivation world, there was no such thing as heaven-defying silver. Perhaps only in the depths of a vast dimension like the Devil Realm could there be such a thing. However, if they want to absorb the divine light in this star region, they'll need at least tens of thousands of years. The corpse of a god is not that easy to absorb. Let's observe first and see how strong the experts inside are. If they're much stronger than us, then we can only be silent. If we can fight, then we'll definitely kill these people, Longhua said. Will the people from the immortal tower take revenge? Zhongli actually did not have a good impression of the immortal tower. This was because the martial ancestor of the human race, bustling, was suppressed within it. Sooner or later, he would go to the immortal tower and rescue bustling. Of course, they will take revenge. However, if we obtain the corpse of a god, your cultivation world will advance, and my cultivation will also increase by many times. At that time, we won't have to be afraid of them taking revenge, Longhua said. It's out. The leader of this battleship has come out. Zhongli suddenly felt an unnerving fluctuation coming from the battleship. Then, an imposing man appeared on the battleship. His body size was similar to that of a human. In the vast universe, he was not even a speck of dust. However, his aura actually affected the changes in the universe. Even the divine light became restless. There was also a faint divinity on his body. This divinity was very unique. It seemed to be an expert of the virtual Godhead level. Virtual Godhead. Longwa was suddenly shocked. This person is actually an expert of the virtual Godhead. Fortunately, his virtual Godhead only has 9 great Tao, 1 less than mine. We have a chance. One could cultivate virtual Godhead with 3 great Tao. However, this virtual Godhead was very weak and could not be used to become a god. The more great Tao one had, the stronger the Godhead. However, this person from the Immortal Tower had cultivated virtual Godhead with 9 great Tao. This was completely different from those with 9 great Tao. He was many times stronger. Even Longhua, who had 10 great Tao, could not do anything to him. In fact, he might even be killed by him. Virtual Godhead was the metamorphosis of the great Tao. In terms of combat power, a virtual Godhead formed with 9 great Tao was equivalent to an expert with 12 or even 13 great Tao. This person's talent is limited. Although he cultivated virtual Godhead, it was a coincidence. Otherwise, he would not have condensed Godhead. Instead, he would have continued to increase his great Tao. Longhua said, "Let's see how we can snatch food from the tiger's mouth. Kill this person? Kill." This is an expert of the virtual Godhead. Not to mention the battleship of the Immortal Tower. Even this person himself is not someone we can fight. Zhongli did not have any ideas. He was very calm. Not necessarily. Let me calculate. After condensing 9 great Tao into virtual Godhead, his combat power should be equivalent to an expert with 13 great Tao. I am definitely not a match for him. However, if he wants to subdue the corpse of a god, it will attract the hatred of God, especially if he comes into contact with the ancient chaos halberd. I think the entire battleship and even the people in it will be destroyed. At that time, we will appear. When the sandpiper and the clam fight, the fishermen will benefit. Isn't that great? Longhua had a good plan. That's true. The people of the Immortal Tower suppressed our human martial ancestor Ba Liming. We have to collect some interest from them. Zhongli was secretly waiting for an opportunity. He stepped on the surface of the planet. The planet was very hard. Almost all of it was made of a type of rare metal. It was pitch black and had a strong gravitational force. However, this was nothing to him. There were actually many metallic life forms living on this planet. These metallic life forms were not animals, but weapons. Swoosh! In the sky, a longsword of a metallic life form flew past like a bird. On the ground, there were metallic longswords, metallic wheels, spears, bows, and arrows. All sorts of metallic life forms living on this planet. This planet is very special. There are so many metallic life forms. Moreover, the metallic life forms seem to be weapons. Zhongli was interested. With a slight grab, a flying longsword was caught by him. It was trembling nonstop. Its strength was extraordinary. It had at least 20 points of mental energy, which was equivalent to that of a human embryonic breathing realm expert. This was something even more amazing than a flying sword. The metallic life form was a flying sword. It had a soul and a unique mind. Metallic life forms were not rare. However, this was the first planet that Zhongli had discovered. This planet must have been affected by the ancient chaos halberd, which resulted in the creation of metallic life forms that were weapons. Longhua said, "However, the life forms on this metallic planet are not strong overall. The strongest one is a heavenly halberd. Its vitality is not even 100 points. This metallic life form planet is nothing to you. However, to us humans on Earth, it has great research value." As Zhongli grabbed, the planet under his feet began to shrink. Then it was absorbed into his palm. However, the life forms on it were not affected at all. Look, the expert with the virtual Godhead has started to advance. He used the Immortal Tower's battleship to absorb the divine light outside, causing it to become thinner. Then he snuck in. He has already seen the corpses of the gods and the ancient chaos halberd. Longhua said, "Let's get ready quickly." With the power of the ancient chaos halberd, if he dares to forcefully collect it, I'm afraid he will be in grave danger, Zhongli said. As expected, when the expert with the virtual godhead saw the corpses of the three gods, his aura was obviously very shocked. At the same time, a greedy desire was emitted. Roar! The expert with the virtual godhead suddenly grabbed. Whoosh! With him as the center, a palm the size of the solar system appeared above his head and grabbed towards the corpses of the gods. However, just as his huge hand grabbed the corpses of the gods, an aura shot up into the sky. With a slight slash, the palm was sliced into pieces. Next, Zhongli saw a huge heavenly halberd. As soon as it appeared, the entire galaxy shook. Cosmic storms swept through countless light years. This was the great weapon born from the primordial chaos, the ancient chaos halberd. As the halberd swayed, it stirred up the primordial chaos. No one could withstand its sharpness alone. The halberd slashed down viciously. The expert with the virtual godhead let out a miserable cry as he was split into two. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.